You damn right. Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. If you are a Longhorn basketball fan, we don't know it all today, but we kind of know two things. You got a pretty damn good team, and it appears that you have a barn as well. We'll get into all of that, plus a lot of football. Chad and Zay on a Thursday. I'm Chad Hastings. I am joined by Isaiah Collier. He's one of the biggest basketball fans I know, so you know he was interested last night. In fact, he was there last night at the Moody Center to watch Texas do that to Gonzaga. Zay, how are you?
Cameron Indoor Stadium, who? Fog Allen Fieldhouse, what? That stupid supermarket arena in Lubbock, huh?
Oh, wow.
Yo, man. The corral was popping. The Moody was popping. Bless the mood. Matthew McConaughey out here sounding like Beck. The Horns get a big-time dub last night. That's what I'm talking about.
Woo! Mercy, mercy. I'm not sure how it could have gone any better last night at the Moody Center. The only way it could have gone better is that when all of y'all got back to your car, they had taped the money that you spent to park on your car. That's about the only way it could have gotten better.
Yeah, or maybe Mark Few might have Draymond Green, Jordan Poole to Drew Timme or something like that. Just something ridiculous like that. Punch him in the face, something like that. Nobody's punched Drew Timme in the face yet. He gets that Christian Laettner comparison. I feel like Christian Laettner got into a few squabbles during those Duke runs in the 90s because nobody could stand him.
Yeah.
I don't really see that as much with Drew Timme. Now it's a different time, different type of player, different era. So, those 90s, there were some battles, especially with those UNLV teams, Georgia Tech teams, with Kenny Anderson and stuff. So I get it. But yeah. Drew Timme, he has that punchable face, and the Horns only allowing 18 points, which is great for him, great for the Horns, and 5 turnovers. I'll take that any day.
About to say, the Horns did some punching last night. No doubt about that. We are already getting text in on the Specs text line. It's there for you, Longhorn fans. 337-3776. Somebody texted, the house is broken in, fellas. Yeah, that's kind of what last night felt like. We obviously will get into football. We've got 2 ranked matchups on the college side, both in the Pac-12, by the way. And there's a massive insult being thrown to the Pac-12 this weekend. And then there's another side insult. We'll get to all that. We'll get to the NFL with 3 winning matchups. And tonight we may get snow in Green Bay. But you know what? Why don't we just start with the Spec set piece and what happened last night at the Mood. All right, we will get to Matthew and the Mass Choir in the crap bag today. I'll see what you Longhorn fans thought of that. But, Zay, let's start with this game. Texas beats Gonzaga. By the end, it was not close. Texas fans got to go parade route a little bit on that one. 93-74. I'll just throw it to you. You were there. You were in the house. What jumps out? Game, atmosphere, whatever you want to hit.
Yeah, it was special last night. One of the craziest atmospheres I've ever been in basketball-wise, and I've been to some places, and, just how hard this team plays with how deep they are. Last year, this team was good. They were good defensively, but there was just something missing. And Coach Beard, when he came in, just a lot of weird things happened. You could go to the Jalen Tyson thing, who was originally a Texas Tech commit with Coach Beard, then came to Texas for Coach Beard, and then left in the middle of the season to go back to Texas Tech. That was weird. And then the Trey Mitchell thing, him leaving in the middle of the season. Well, not middle of the season, but after that Baylor game. We still don't know what happened there, and then the coaches that left from Coach Howard, who was a Bill Self guy, came from Kansas. He only spent 1 year here. That was odd. And then Coach Uric Maliki, who's over at Kansas State now, who also spent 1 year here. So those 4 things were some head scratchers for me. And if you're Chris Beard, sometimes you have to put your pride away and look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, what could I have done better in that first year to, because he's very my way or the highway, and you have to be to a certain extent. But, there is just a certain tightness that 2022 team played with. Well, this team plays with a certain freedom that you gotta love. And clearly that comes with the talent that just got here with the transfer. Serge Jabari Rice out of New Mexico State. He's just a great all-around player. He does all the little things from defense to leadership to he'll provide offense for you. Hit a big three last night. He has one of the best pump fakes I ever seen. Manu Ginobili had a great pump fake like that. So he brings something to the table. And then clearly the standout was Tyrese Hunter, 26 points. I mean, come on, what didn't he do last night? And one thing, Chad, that really stood out for me that has something to do with what I just said about the freeness Coach Beard is letting these guys play with now in year two. There was one possession of the game. Strawder hit a big three. The game became 49-40. And that's when I was kind of like, uh-oh, it was in the second half. And I was like, okay, well, is this the time Gonzaga comes back and makes a run? Tyrese Hunter, after that Strawder three, came down, didn't pass it to nobody. And we saw last year, Coach Beard, he was on some Gene Hackman Hoosier stuff, and like, because he was playing
five passes, gentlemen.
Yeah, 5 passes,
five
passes stuff. It's like, come on, Coach, like you take what they give you. But yeah, he was playing Tristan Lacombe, who I was calling Ollie. You remember Ollie from Hoosiers, who was throwing it underhand.
Yeah,
like yeah. So it's just, when you're playing guys like that, you're looking over your shoulder if you're Marcus Carr. I know Courtney Ramey and Andrew Jones, they were looking over their shoulder too, because if it wasn't my way or the highway for Chris Beard, which it was, hey, you better play great basketball, great defense. Now that freedom, Tyrese Hunter came down the court, didn't pass it to nobody, danced around a pick. Bolton didn't step up. He went under the screen, pulled up for three, bam. And I was like, oh man, that's different. That's freedom. And Marcus Carr, now he's playing with that. He took some threes last night where he just looked at his man disrespectfully like, yo, okay, you're not going to step up? Bam, butter. And it's just like, man, that's different. We didn't see that last year, and it's impressive. Marcus Carr, 16.7 assists. We talk about him being off ball, but him having 7 assists last night, the ball was in his hands quite a lot, and he made some big-time plays. And yes, Timmy Allen, he didn't have the best game, but he did make some great passes and played some solid defense on Drew Timme, so his game will come along. But last year, if Timmy Allen didn't have a game over double digits, that was most likely a loss. Like, you needed him to have a good game in order for them to win last year. This year, with how deep they are, that's not the case. Christian Bishop was good. And one thing about Drew Timme, you got to make him work not only on the offensive end by double teaming him at times, which the Horns did a good job, but make him work defensively. Brock Cunningham, when Drew Timme was guarding him, shot a three right in his face, bang, was going off the dribble. Christian Bishop, every time he got the ball, he put it on the floor, had a nice reverse layup, like Dylan Dessou had his best game as a long court and hit a couple of threes on pick and pops from Marcus Carr and Tyrese Hunter, all those guarded by Drew Timme. So that's the way to beat Gonzaga. And that's the big reason why Drew Timme's not going to go to the association, because he can't guard. So Coach Beard did the right thing and said, hey, guys, whoever Drew Timme is being guarded of, go at him. And we're going to put him in pick and rolls and make him work. And that's what they did last night. And you saw a 19-point win.
93-74 was the final. If you want to give us your thoughts, if you were there, what did it look like? What did it sound like? What did you think of the Moody Center and that team beating that team like that? Somebody texted in, the lead was so big, not even Sark could have blown it. See, that's not productive. That's not productive, Longhorn fans.
That's the worst thing about this basketball team succeeding when this football team is in the roller coaster state that they're in. They're going to go at Sark. I saw so many, that's all gas, no brakes, Sark. I saw people on Twitter talking about, hey, maybe Chris Beard should coach the football team. It's like, man, come on. That's a little unnecessary. The basketball team is good, and like I've been telling you, get your money ready. I'm not saying it's a for sure thing. Just have your money ready, because the Final Four is in H-Town this year, NRG Stadium, where the Texans play, big time. And this could be a special season where the Horns, who would have a big advantage, going right up the road if they made it that far. Now, that's a long time from now. A lot of things
long way to go.
Long way to go. But what I saw in that Arkansas game that I also went to at the Mood, where they blew out a really good Eric Musselman team by 30, I repeat, like Mike Harge, 30, and then played this number 2 team in the nation, which I don't think this Gonzaga team is as good as they've been in recent years, but they're still pretty damn good, and you beat them by basically 20 points. That's promising, and you could play and beat anybody in the country.
By the way, my mistake. Apparently, I haven't seen Hoosiers in a while. 4 passes in Hoosiers.
It's just 4?
I was trying to nerd it up even more. Apparently it's just 4. I have not watched Hoosiers.
Yeah. My man,
in a little while.
My man with the running shot, I don't remember his name. He wasn't having that. He wasn't having that.
No.
But then when Jimmy came along, it was a wrap. That 4 passes stuff went out the window.
Somebody said Brock Cunningham all over Drew Timme was amazing. Somebody else tweeted the Moody Center definitely broken in last night after those last 2 dunks to close out the game with the fire emoji. Dylan Mitchell with both of them, right?
Yeah, all his points were dunks yesterday.
Dude, that's
all of them. He had 8 points. He had 4 dunks. He had a dunk off of a inbounds play with a pass from Christian Bishop. Then he had those 2 big-time alley-oops back-to-back. And then he had, which was the most impressive to me, the tip dunk. That was bananas. Yeah. And him being left-handed, it looks different, but it's pretty. You know, his bounce is crazy. And, I thought Arterio Morris, even though he didn't shoot the ball necessarily well, I thought he was solid in the 13 minutes that he had. I mean, he had one of those Jordan Poole plays where he was spinning around and put it between his legs and hit a nasty fadeaway. And his shot will come along, but he made some really good passes, made a nice pass to Brock Cunningham for a layup, made a nice defensive play, which made Drew Timme travel when they double teamed him. And I thought Chris Beard did a really good job of picking and choosing when the double team Drew Timme. And then the Horns, they did their work early on Drew Timme by not allowing those passes to go in there, whether Brock Cunningham was fighting him down low, Christian Bishop was fighting him down low, and then the guards making it hard for the Gonzaga guards to make those entry passes to the post. You know, it's kind of like a quarterback being pressured by a blitz and you're inaccurate with your throw due to the pressure. That's the same with basketball. The more pressure that you have on a guard, especially that's trying to feed the post like Drew Timme and like what Mark Few and Gonzaga like to do, you know, the harder it is to get those passes in there due to the pressure. And Tyrese Hunter, Marcus Carr, Sir'Jabari Rice, Timmy Allen, all those guys did a hell of a job yesterday on those guards for not allowing those easy passes to go into Timmy.
If you have any thoughts on Texas basketball, 337-3776. Somebody just texted the word badass in all caps. It also said, as a question for you, Zay, it says it seemed really loud on TV even though they had 10,000. Was it loud, and is it an advantage, Zay?
Oh, it's a crazy advantage. It's a big-time advantage because you got Coach Beard. He's getting the crowd hype all the time.
Early going, he was doing the beg hands. He was like, I beg you to get loud. But as the game went on, he didn't need to beg anymore.
I thought about you. Once he was begging, I thought about you. I was like, oh, Chad's going to say something about that tomorrow.
I don't think he'll need to beg anymore.
No.
Not in games like that anyway.
No. I don't think Mike Krzyzewski ever had to beg to get the crowd up. Now, he definitely got the crowd up in a different way. I remember Krzyzewski putting his hands up and saying, let's go. And Beard does that very well, too, and does that a lot. But then the team, they also do that. They're always, Timmy Allen's always looking in the crowd. Marcus Carr and Tyrese Hunter, they're high-fiving fans and whatnot. So they're keeping the crowd engaged in a great way. They feed off the crowd and the mood. It's right on top of you. It's a great atmosphere. It was built in the perfect way. And now Texas basketball has a true advantage on the men's and women's side.
So one of the big keys, I think, now for Texas fans, and I'm wearing my Cowboys shirt today, as a Cowboys fan, I know what it's like to root for one of these type of teams. You'll get overly comfortable real fast. You'll see one little thing that's good, and you think everything's about to go good. Last night was great. A tremendous atmosphere. I could feel it on TV. You could hear. Here's what the fact that the local guys and the national guys are all saying it, that's key. Yes, Lowell Galindo had his comment the other day about now the fans are here, now they need to figure out when and how to yell. But when they did, he and Lance Blanks both said, wow, it is loud in here. And last night, national guys that had been to Austin before going, oh my God, this is not what the Irwin Center was like. This place is so loud. They kicked to Seth Greenberg and those guys, and they're like, man, it's loud in Austin tonight. So the fact that that built on itself. Now, Zay, here's the next step. And the next challenge I would have for Longhorn fans. Now show up for Texas. Now show up to see Texas play. Not Gonzaga. Show up to see Texas. Hey, who's on the... Doesn't matter. Oh, man, they're playing Northern... Doesn't matter. They're playing TC... Doesn't matter. Go see them, because you mentioned Cameron at the beginning and you mentioned Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Those fans show up to see the home team, not the road team. Texas fans will show for the road team when it's a big deal, like last night. Now take that next step. Now, for Texas against whoever Tech, show up and do that again, and Chris Beard's really going to be impressed, and he will stop begging.
Yeah, absolutely. And how to do that is keep winning.
Yes.
If you keep winning, then they will want to see a special team, and this team could be very, very special. I mean, they have everything you want. Yes, they might lack height, but they don't lack toughness, and they don't lack athleticism.
I was going to say, they don't lack vert.
Yeah.
They got plenty of that.
They lacked athleticism last year, which held them back a ton, especially when Trey Mitchell left. So now when you got guys like Dylan Mitchell, who could jump with anybody in the country, Timmy Allen's at the 3. He's more athletic than people think. Christian Bishop coming off the bench, that's solid. Again, it's the best game we've seen Dylan Dessou had. And I'm just so proud that they made Timmy work on the defensive end. The big 3 of the bigs from Brock Cunningham, Christian Bishop, and Dylan Dessou. All those guys had solid offensive games. It might not tell it on the stat sheet, but when they got the ball in their hands, Brock Cunningham 7, Christian Bishop's 9, Dylan Dessou's 12. When they got the ball in their hands, they made plays and they made the right decisions. And, Christian Bishop, I don't want him shooting threes all the time, but when you take one, it's kind of like taking a deep shot. It makes the defense say, okay, it's a possibility that they could hit that.
Oh, here we go.
He could hit that.
Here we're going. Back
it's
to
a
the
possibility.
Deep shots. Yeah.
Hey, it's a possibility. It might not be accurate.
That's all Sark's been saying. It's a possibility. You're making his point now, Zay.
Yeah. There's way too many analogies with this football team and this basketball team that suck, because they were talking about Tyrese Hunter last night. My man Fran, who I love, I know that's Craig Way's guy. Fran was like, yeah, I've been here a lot of times, and Tyrese Hunter, who shot 27% from 3 at Iowa State last year, he was saying, yo, this guy was working on his jumper like crazy. And Tyrese Hunter was a freshman last year, just like Quinn Ewers is a freshman this year. And one thing we all say, everybody on these airways, from B&E to Light the Tower, Craig Jeff, to Ball Don't Lie with Rod and Harch, we always talk about his mechanics and his footwork and stuff. That's what you work on in the offseason, So Tyrese Hunter, he did that. And it showed last night. His quick release.
Such an easy jumper.
It is.
My God.
It is. And you saw a little bit of that in the NCAA tournament when he was with Iowa State. He went crazy and was a big reason why they went to the Sweet 16. So him coming in this year, plus I can't talk about this enough. The freedom that Chris Beard is giving these guys, you know what that does to your confidence? Hell, Chad, after the game, he made me want to go to the park and work on my game, work on my jab step, work on my Sir Jabari Rice pump fake.
There
just
you
because
go.
That makes you want to play the game. That's a fun way to play. They got a lot of possession. I heard Jeff Howe talk about it today. 74 possessions, where Chris Beard's teams, like Jeff Howe said earlier, usually they're around the 60 mark. If you turn up on defense and play that, getting steals, 27 points off of turnovers, if you play that up-tempo style of brand, now you have the personnel to play that up-tempo style of brand. You kind of had it last year. I thought there were times Chris Beard held these guys back, like Courtney Ramey and Andrew Jones. Those guys were solid players. Are they the caliber of Sir Jabari Rice and Tyrese Hunter in the athleticism? No, they are not. Now Marcus Carr, his second year in, he's playing with a different freedom, now playing off the ball, lost all that weight, so he's clearly locked in in his own way. So it was very impressive last night, and you got to be optimistic of what you might see later on in the season.
Yeah, some exciting stuff coming. If you haven't checked the schedule, that Gregory Gym game is coming up. Now, that's one where they just let students in. Is that correct?
I feel like it's different this year.
A little different, maybe?
Because
okay.
it's right after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So I don't know if all the students will be back in town. So I think they're handling it differently.
Okay, so check into that one. The next true home game is not till December 1st. They're about to go play that game in Edinburgh. Then they come back for the Gregory game, and then they play December 1st over at Moody Center in another true home game. So if you want to get over and check it out, you can do it that way. Shout out to our guy CB who let us know it wasn't just 10. It was a little over 11,000 that they got in there last night.
Yeah, folks were on the top standing.
11,313, I believe, is the official number, and it certainly was impressive. Those sound dampening panels on the top where they can project stuff onto them looks incredible. That orange lighting, by the way, football people, that's what's coming. It's got to be. You watch enough college football now to know. Bama, Tennessee, Georgia, other places are doing that. LED lights that can go off instantly, but you can go to any color you want. Heck, Q2. Q2 is the best local example I can give you. When that place goes green, it's badass on goals. That's what they'll do in the football stadium. And I thought that looked really cool last night. Zay, how did it look being in there when they put that orange light on there? That's pretty cool, right?
Oh, it's incredible. You know, I went home and watched the game on TV, and it looked incredible there, too. It was perfect setup. You could see the corral with the TV set up. And, yeah, they hit everything out the park with the Moody Center. I mean, I love the Irwin Center. Have so many memorable moments going there with my pops, watching state championship games and just different big games. But this place is special, and it gives the Texas Longhorns a certain advantage that they've never had, ever.
Yep.
And it's opposing teams, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Musclemen, even though they didn't have clearly as the amount that we saw last night in the Arkansas game, he felt it. Their team felt it. And then last night, the Gonzaga Bulldogs felt it. And the Horns definitely, especially the corral and the fans, they played a huge part in those 20 turnovers that the Bulldogs had last night.
Oh, was it 20 they packed?
20
That's
turnovers.
a lot of turnovers to get into a plane.
Yeah.
20?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well done,
Drew
Texas.
Timme had 5 of them things. Just dribbling the ball off his leg.
Yeah, he did.
Throwing the ball just clean out of bounds and stuff. They were a big impact last night. I was impressed.
Yeah, you mentioned yesterday that Texas needed to control the guard situation. You felt like they could be better at the guard position. They clearly were, and part of that was they were messing with any ball handler Gonzaga could think up. Like you pointed out yesterday, they do not have a stud guard like they have had in the past. Texas made them pay for it over and over again last night. So
yeah, Dan Dickau ain't walking through that door anytime soon.
They need him to, but yeah, he's not. He's not. So to you, Zay, and to all the Longhorn fans, I will say congratulations, because it would appear that y'all have a barn, y'all have a nut house, and it is something that you have not had. All those people talking about all those things for 20-something years I've been doing this, it feels like now it's all coming together, and now last night shows you what it can be. We'll keep talking about it. Specs text line 337-3776. Were you there? What'd you think? Over the TV, what'd you think? The Moody Center and Texas whipping Gonzaga. We will definitely hit that today. Also, let's hit some football. Texas getting ready to go to Kansas to try to get that 7th win, and the Cowboys are going to Minnesota to try to get another win as well. Plus, coming up in the crab bag, I got to find out if all you Longhorn fans are really ready to bless the mood. That's coming up on the Horn. Hey, bottom line, Texas fans, if they're going to play basketball like that at the Moody Center, you might need a better TV. AV Consultations can make sure you have that, or maybe it's just a bigger TV, or it's more TVs. It's double screens. It's the 4-screen setup that you've always wanted. They can do all that for you. AV Consultations can make those holiday dreams come true. Get that movie room that you've always wanted. Remember, they're not raising their prices as the holidays approach. They've got the smart TVs you're looking for. They've got the Sonos audio equipment. Like I always tell you, let them shop for everything for you. Let them get everything because they're the experts. They're the ones that have been doing this since the late 80s. They'll make sure you are satisfied with every detail. So go ahead and let them get every detail because they can get deals on TVs and speakers and the wires. They know which correct wires and how to match everything up. They've got the right answers and they can get better deals than you can. So let them do that and pass those savings on to you. AV Consultations. Call 255-8678. Tell them you heard about it here on the Horn and that you've got an idea for your house to be even better on that AV side. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. This is Chad talking Apple Leasing. I'll give you a little simple thing I love about my new car from Apple Leasing as opposed to my previous car is I can just travel further. I get more on a gallon of gas and a tank of gas than I used to. That was big to me because I've got a little bit of a trip every day since we live out in Elgin. So I wanted to make sure I get good gas mileage and I get even better gas mileage than I did with my last car. I love it. And I love the easy lease at Apple Leasing. It was such a simple process. I called 346-9977 like I ask you to do every time. Would never ask you to do something I wouldn't do. 346-9977. I talked to Beth, started asking all the questions. She had all the answers, and then we just started that process. 2-3 conversations later, we had it all figured out, and they delivered it right to my driveway. They'll drive away your trade-in if that's what you need them to do as well. Call 346-9977. Talk to Beth or one of their other experts, and they will get you started with Apple Leasing. You can also check them out online at appleleasing.com. Man. This is going to sound like a dumb guess, but Neil Diamond?
Was Neil Diamond in the band?
No.
It ain't him.
Who is it?
Smokey.
Smokey? That's it?
Smokey. It's Your Love.
I don't know about
It's Your Life. I'm sorry.
I don't know about Smokey, but for you music fans out there, you see why I guessed Neil? That did have that kind of a Neil Diamond, hey, I'm in Vegas in a leisure suit. No? Okay. Smokey gets us started today. Longhorn fans in a good mood after what happened at The Mood last night. We'll get back into that. Want to remind you, you got one last chance to enter for a couple of our cool contests going on right now, giveaways. Today's the final day to get registered for that great lunch out at Pluckers with the Light the Tower crew and Aaron Hogan. So Craig, Jeff, and Aaron, we've been doing that Light the Tower lunch, the wingman lunch out there. And you listen to B&E. They do the picks with Dave Paul. They did that this morning on their show. Then go to the contest page at hornfm.com for one last chance to win the lunch with Light the Tower. So head on over there for that. And you will have a chance to win tickets to the Texas-Baylor game the day after Thanksgiving, 11 a.m. kick. We knew that, but it is official now. Also, if you're into Texas State football at all, you can get another shot to go see them play Arkansas State this weekend. Go to hornfm.com. Go register to win on the contest page. They will play at Bobcat Stadium at 4 o'clock on Saturday. So you got one more chance to get in on that. It is Thursday. That means after Ball Don't Lie this evening, you will get Longhorn Weekly with Steve Sarkisian as Texas gets ready for Kansas. There are a lot of issues to get through after that TCU loss. Somebody texted us about the basketball game, and Zay made a reference to the football team being a roller coaster, and he says, football roller coaster? Roller coasters go up, man. Okay, see, that's rude.
Y'all petty, man.
Why is there so much rudeness? I don't understand. Here's a great text, Zay. It says, my 8-year-old daughter became a basketball fan last night.
That's a beautiful thing.
After watching that game. Right after Mitchell's alley-oop, she started begging me to take her to a game. Thanks, Coach Beard.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, that's what they can do to you.
I'll say this, Zay, as a third-party observer, as someone whose job it is to watch that team play, can't remember the last time I had that much fun watching Texas play basketball.
Oh, neither can I.
It can really drag at times, depending on the game, how they're playing. We've talked about those groups of minutes where they wouldn't score.
It would be like 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 12 minutes.
Boy, it just felt like the rhythm was great. The pacing was great. Yesterday when J.D. Lewis was on with us, I asked him about the key to the game, and he said dictate pace. Can we dictate the pace of the game? And at times, I thought it was perfect. 12-2 in fast break points. Gonzaga felt slow last night, and Texas felt like they knew what pace they wanted to go. And they were just fine. They felt like they were cruising all night in like third and fourth gear, and they still had fifth if they needed it. Dylan Mitchell gave them the fifth late in the game. That dude, the only thing Zay flying higher in that building last night was that Rudy's barbecue sauce bottle. Dylan Mitchell was airborne.
I never get those coupons. Ever.
Never caught one?
Never caught one.
Me either.
Ever.
No.
Yeah, very disturbing. But I agree with you. Dylan Mitchell, his bounce is crazy. And yeah, if you want any motive to go to the Mood and see this team, maybe it's to see Dylan Mitchell because it's the last year you ever going to see him. He is gone to the association. He's going to be making some big-time money, catching lobs from elite point guards. So, yeah, this might be it. And this team, they're just a deep team that plays really hard and has the offensive firepower to come along with it. And I'll continue to preach and say, as long as Chris Beard gives these guys the freedom to take quick shots, there was going back to Mike D'Antoni 7 seconds or less where Steve Nash was winning MVPs and they had Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion, guys like that. Like, that's what made Mike D'Antoni so famous. And it could work if you have the personnel. Now, those teams never won a championship. They always ran to Greg Popovich teams that, were more balanced all around. But those types of teams are very fun to see. Plus the defense that Chris Beard throws at you, add those two together, and you got a team that could be playing deep into March.
Yeah, a lot of good comments coming in on the Specs text line. Let us know what you thought of last night. We'll get some more on that coming up in the crap bag because I have got to play y'all a little bit of Matthew McConaughey. See what you thought of that last night from the early parts of the mood setting last night. But we do need to talk a little football. Texas and Kansas coming up. Saturday afternoon, 2:30. It is a 10 a.m. start for us down there at Lavaca Street Bar. Zay, as a Longhorn fan, obviously you're feeling good about basketball right now. Where are you on this football team? You ready to pick Texas to win it? You like this 9 number? Are they covering, or are you concerned?
I don't know about covering, and of course I'm concerned. It's Texas football. Why I got what? You kidding me?
Right.
Like I'm gonna be concerned every single game until things completely change, and it hasn't yet. We haven't seen that yet. Again, it's been a roller coaster team. Sometimes the defense has its flaws. Sometimes, or a lot of the time, the offense has their flaws, and then Steve Sarkisian's decision making. It's been questioned for a reason. I mean, not giving Bijan Robinson the ball, the only 2 times you get in the red zone, it's just unacceptable. So you can't do things like that and then be on the right path to success overall. And you ask me, am I nervous? Stuff like that. That's why it makes me nervous. But on paper, this Texas football team should dominate this Kansas team. Yes, their offense is, there's a lot better. Yes, my man Neal, he could really go, one of the most underrated running backs in the nation. But with their backup quarterback going out last week, Dean, he missed a lot of part of that Texas Tech game, and we don't know how Jalen Daniels, how he's gonna look. He's definitely not going to be 100%.
Right.
If
So
he
they're both
does
kind of
play.
banged
Yeah,
up right
they're
now.
both kind of
Yeah.
banged up, and we saw with this Texas defense against TCU what they could really do. 14 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. They're finally getting those sacks. I've been talking about it all season long. They get the pressures, they just can't get these guys down. It's been so frustrating, and it's really frustrating when the offense can only put up 3 points and the defense plays its best game of the year. So if you take that mentality and that mindset that Pete Kwiatkowski had this defense going with, I don't see this Kansas team winning. But at the end of the day, this is Texas football, and it's going to be cold as hell up in Kansas. It's going to be cold as hell in a lot of places where these teams,
Yeah, it
NFL
is.
and college football, are playing these games. So give Bijan Robinson the ball and walk out of Lawrence with a dub and give you a possibility of maybe getting to Arlington for a Big 12 championship.
Yeah, you would think it's a tote the rock kind of day. Rushing defense 93rd for Kansas. You mentioned the cold weather that's going to be a part of it. I'm interested to see if they will, how much will they commit to the run, but we also know what Texas is about overall. Time of possession, they're at 119 in the country, averaging about 27 minutes. I think that could win them this game. As long as they're in that range, 27, maybe 28, you don't need to be ahead. That's not what Texas does. But you just don't get like a 35-25 or something put on you. I think they could be fine there, Zay. The other thing that jumped out to me, scoring defense for Kansas, they're 103rd in the country. They're giving up 30. If I told you right now Texas scores 30, does that win the game? Is that enough to get it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think their offense, that, option based, triple option, spread type, it can be tough when they're clicking, but I think Texas defense is better set to stop this type of offense.
Yeah, they showed us enough last week where we could trust that defense to go travel, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Lance Leipold, how locked in is this team? Because remember, he came from Wisconsin Whitewater. He's a D3 legend, all those national championships that he won there. He's a Wisconsin native. And which job is vacant right now? The Wisconsin Badgers job. So when they come looking, I guarantee they make a call down to Lawrence, Kansas, and just see what's up, because he's completely changed.
He's done an incredible job.
Oh, he's done an amazing job.
God.
And how you do well is how you keep success is bringing the people that help you get success along with you. The defensive coordinator, Brian Borland, he came from Wisconsin Whitewater to Buffalo to Kansas. The offensive coordinator, Andy Kolonicki, he came from Wisconsin Whitewater, Buffalo to Kansas.
So both steps.
Yeah, so they clearly love this guy. He clearly has, everybody locked in. Does he have his team locked in? Because ever since there have been rumors about that Wisconsin job and who could get it, they haven't looked that good. They haven't looked as good as they did when they had College Game Day there and they were 5-0 and stuff. So I'm not saying that's the reason why they aren't as good now. Clearly, they don't have a quarterback consistently. They're playing their backup. They're mixing and matching, and their defense, they give up a lot of points overall. But still, for somebody at Kansas, that could be tough to focus on when your coach from that state might have a spot there.
That's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that angle of this game. They may have their minds on something else. They'll have their minds on Texas after last year, coming to Austin, beating Texas here for the first time. Texas will have that on their minds also. 2:30 kick on Saturday. Of course, we'll have it for you right here on the Horn. More on that coming. Real quick before the break, let me mention the huge insult the Pac-12 got. If you don't know the schedule this week, here are your two ranked matchups. 7 o'clock Saturday night, USC-UCLA. I call it the best-looking game in college football. It's the only game where everybody wears their colors. I love it. USC rocking the burgundy, UCLA rocks the powder blue. That's at 7 o'clock. And then, Zay, at 9:30, Utah goes to Oregon. ESPN, ranked matchup. Do you know where Fox Big Noon kickoff is going to be this weekend? Do you have any idea?
They've been at some weird places this season.
Waco.
Oh, stop it.
I wish I could. They're in Waco. Do you know where College Game Day is? Two ranked matchups, UCLA, USC, and Utah and Oregon. Do you know where College Game Day is going to be?
You better not say that Kentucky, Georgia.
Montana State.
Who? Where?
Yep.
Huh?
Montana State. Like, if I'm look, I understand George Kliavkoff and the Pac-12 are kind of that fifth conference in some people's minds, but that is Fox is broadcasting the USC-UCLA game. In case y'all don't remember, UCLA plays their home games at the Rose Bowl. They don't want a primetime game at the Rose Bowl. They're going to Waco instead because it happens to kick at 11 our time.
Yeah, and that just makes you think.
Now, I know,
no respect for the Pac-12.
And they're doing what Game Day did last week. They're going to the TCU story. TCU at Baylor. I kind of get that, but if I'm the Pac-12, I'm insulted.
Yo, the line for that TCU-Baylor game is only -2.5 TCU.
Is that right?
So that's kind of like, especially with the way Dave Aranda and his ball club got blown out last week against Kansas State.
They'll show up this week, though. I think they'll bounce back. That's a physical game waiting to happen, I think. Do you think Baylor's done?
I think getting blown out by that much at this point, and then you got TCU coming along. They're getting more and more confidence with every win. I think that big win last week made them feel like, hey, we could play in any type of game. We don't have to come back. We don't have to play in shootouts. We could play in those dogfights. And with them being in the college football playoff, controlling their own destiny, if they win out, then they're in. I think they're going to handle their business.
All right.
Get ugly.
That one is an 11 o'clock kick on Fox, and that is where Big Noon Kickoff will be. All right, coming up, crap bag, bless the mood, ? Are you in on the Matthew McConaughey and White with the choir? We'll play a little bit of it for you. You tell me. Zay will tell me his thoughts as well. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk a little underdog fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy football. I've got my pick'em game ready to go for tonight with the Packers and the Titans. Go check it out at C Hastings 1049. Maybe you go with the picks I made, or you do what one of my coworkers says to do and just go exactly the opposite, and you win that way. You pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for your chance to win big. I've told you I'm a little bit of a higher guy. I always think on the positive side. So I do think that Derrick Henry is going to have enough carries tonight higher that it will force Brett Favre. It'll force Aaron Rodgers to have to throw too many times. So I think he's going up over that number as well. So remember, you can win up to 20 times your money in a single game. Pick between 2 and 5 players. Build that pick'em entry. You get them all right, you win. Or do what I did. Go with the pick insurance option. I only need 2 of the 3 to hit, and then I will win. I believe it is 3 times my money, 3 times or 6 times my money, depending on how much you want to deal with. You can set it up however you want. Trust me, if I can get it all set up on my phone, you can too. Get it done before tonight's kick. Sign up today with the promo code HORN. You get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Check out those pick'em games at Underdog Fantasy. Oh, look out. Come on. Let's go. Yeah. It is time for the first musical sacrilege comment of the day. Old folks are going to hate this one, Zay. I think it's better than the original.
Oh, this is a remake?
Yes, it is. I am sorry. I am not trying to dog out the mamas or the papas, but I think the Bangles did it better. The Bangles with Hazy Shade of Winter from the Less Than Zero soundtrack, where Robert Downey Jr. throws down one of his best 80s performances. Because I believe in every way he was coked out. That's a great, dark 80s movie if you've never seen it. RDJ, who do you get? Is it Phoebe Cates? And then what's our man? James Spader. Great James Spader. RDJ just absolutely owns that role. Great movie. Less Than Zero, and this song is in it.
Yeah, Phoebe Gates might have the greatest topless thing of all time. Fast Time, Ridgemont High.
She's wonderful in Fast Times. Yep, great in that too. Good stuff. And maybe there's another actor I'm missing in there. Anyway, there's a lot of good stuff. Andrew McCarthy might be in that one too. So we got the Bangles and Smokey getting us started today. But there's another song we need to get to. Let's get on into Crap Bag here and see if it really all came together for you Longhorn fans last night.
Chad's Crap Bag.
Crap bag. If you need an easy way to remember it, just think of a bag of crap.
Oh, here we go. Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678 or avconsultations.com. Maybe it all makes sense now. Maybe we now know why Matthew McConaughey stood in front of that building and just couldn't get off that phrase, bless the mood. And he kept saying it, and he pounded his chest, and I thought, boy, he really is leaning in on that one. Oh, I think he and the choir might have already been in the studio practicing up for this one. They played part of this last night. This is about a minute or so. I'm going to let it sink in, and then we'll talk about whether you like it or not, Longhorn fans. This played before the basketball game, and apparently it's playing before every game. Here we go.
Look to your left, baby. Look to your right. Who knows? You might meet a friend and end up partying all night. It's time to bleed your orange and get your horns in the air. It's time to own this court. It's time to take the dare. You see, it's our soul to bear, because what we got is so rare. You see, we are living proof. Here to raise the roof. Fight on, rise up, be a dog, not a pup. Drop your cane, shake your manes, wax your wanes, focus frames. It's time to step up our games. Ain't no more passing the blames. We gotta play through the pain so we can make our gains. It's time to drive our lanes. It's time to make it rain. Time to leave no doubt if they remember our name. So have a look around you, go on and share a howdy. If we gonna bless this mood, we gonna have to get rowdy. You feeling that below the waist? To the prime movers and the way makers, to the real dealers and the no fakers, to the life givers and the goodness sakers, to the all-out ballers and the earth shakers. Put your hands in the sky, baby.
All right. From what I understand,
Oh, my God.
they did not play all 3 minutes. If you want to go online at C Hastings 1049, I retweeted it. There's like 3 minutes and 10 seconds of him and the choir doing the whole deal. I'm told they don't play the whole thing, but before the game, they're playing about a minute of that before the game. So, Zay, are you in on all of that, on the corral being called the corral, on the place being called the mood, and on hearing him do that and bless the mood every single game at the building? Are you good? Are you in?
I'm good with the corral.
Okay.
I'm good with the mood.
You're good calling it the mood?
I'm not good with this.
Oh,
I can't.
You're not going with bless the mood?
Again, he sounds like Beck. When he starts spitting rhymes and stuff.
Beck has sold millions of records. He's really successful.
I get it, but it's.
Did you hear him say something like you have to wax your wains?
Yeah.
Was that a double moon reference from Matthew?
I appreciate the brothers and sisters that he had singing in the background. I appreciated that. That was a solid little touch, the choir and stuff. But
I dug the Earth Shakers. I dug that one.
him, it's just a lot. That's going to be the reason why we lose this season.
Oh, come on.
If we lose any games,
Wait,
I'm going to say it's because of this awful song.
You're going to blame that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I put it out.
This was like his run from 2000 to like 2007.
Oh, you're saying this is rom-com Matthew?
This is rom-com Matthew.
How dare you?
This isn't Dallas Buyers Club Matthew.
Multiple folks have reacted on Twitter. I put it out and said, hey, Longhorn fans, what do you think? Do you want it every game? Do you hate it? Do you like it? You're okay with it? And the first reaction I got was the Larry David gif of, kind of like that. We will see. This says, does it have to be him singing? I guess it does. Says, I never thought I'd use this word in conjunction with Matthew McConaughey, but lame is the word that was just texted. Somebody says the song sucks. Bastardized Beck is what somebody else said. Says he copied that song off the Gorillaz.
Like the Gorillaz, the animated music group? Gorillaz?
Did you say animated music group? What?
Yeah, have you not seen the Gorillaz?
I thought
like
the Gorillaz
videos?
was a rock band.
They are a rock band, but all their videos are animated.
Oh,
I've never
I
seen
didn't know that.
the Gorillaz live.
Oh, I love that. I love that we don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I like when bands do that stuff. This says Texas and A&M themselves a joke. Lord help us. This says I like 99.99999% of Texas-related things. I hate this.
Yo, this is tough to follow. And you know what?
Oh, my God.
Basketball's supposed to be
So glad I
cool.
asked.
Basketball's supposed to be like hip-hop. That's why basketball and hip-hop mesh so well.
So he's wearing the flowing whites and the choir. That's not hip enough for you? You needed to be a little edgier?
No,
Is that what you're
man,
looking
they
for?
could have got like Bun B or Paul Wall, some Houston rapper, which I know the Houston Cougars are picked to win the national championships this year in basketball. So for a lot of people, so they probably wouldn't do it, but not this. We could have went a different way.
They should have got our guy Saul Paul from right here in the area. Should have got Saul Paul. That's what he should have done. Could have done that. That is also let us know what you think if you were there last night, because there's no way Matthew and that choir get together to replay that one time. Jeff Howe was, when we were switching shows, he told me he's already heard it at least a couple times. But they're going to play it at every game, I think. So for those that went to the Arkansas exhibition and the, what was that first game? UTEP? Do I have that right? UTEP or whoever it was.
UTEP, then HCU.
And then HCU. Everybody that's gone to those games, I think you've heard those as well. So let us know what you think. It says, somebody said, Chad, that was a minute too long that you.
It's brutal.
Oh my God. I did not know the reaction was going to be that strong. I didn't know, honestly. Somebody says, I'm not a fan of Bless the Mood, too much exposure and co-branding of UT with McConaughey. Because I wondered if Texas fans would embrace it because, yeah, he's kind of kooky and different, but he's your guy, and it's unique because nobody else has that. Who else has a famous actor hanging with a choir doing a song before the game? But the key is it's got to be cool. It has to be. It has to be cool, and like you said, it has to be cool. It has to be hip. It has to have a certain edge to it. Basketball needs a certain speed and punch and attitude to it. Real quick, Zay, the music in the arena, the little bits I heard as they were going to break, coming back and stuff, it felt like whatever DJ or whatever they have in there felt like they were keeping that energy up in a good way. What did you think about all that, like that part of it?
It could get a little bit too loud to where it just
Really?
it's weird.
Listen to you, old man.
No, I'm not gonna. No, it's just a weird sound to where like, what song is this? When I'm questioning, I don't know what song it is. I just hear sound.
They're just cranking it up too far.
They're just cranking it up too far. Other than that, when they're playing it like within the game, like NBA style, but instead like hip hop song, it's not bad.
Cool?
That's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, the energy was there last night. We'll see what that looks like and sounds like. Now that the Texas fans know what that team is capable of, are they going to show up for all the games, no matter who they're playing, and give them that kind of atmosphere in every single game, no matter who they are playing? We will find out, but it was certainly there for Gonzaga last night. Wow, 93-74. Texas wins, but so far, I sense that Longhorn fans are not ready to Bless the Mood with Matthew and the choir. Matthew, I tried, man. I tried, but apparently the Earth Shakers did not want to hear about it. All right, 1 o'clock hour coming up. Jeff Howe, horns247.com, Light the Tower, Longhorn Blitz podcast. He was there last night. We'll get his thoughts on the mood, the game, how they looked, and then, of course, some Texas football as well as they get ready to go to Kansas. I believe Jeff's going to be headed to Lawrence, Kansas. We'll get a double check on that, too. Glad you're with us on a Thursday. Good stuff with Longhorn basketball. Trying to figure out things with Longhorn football. This is The Horn. This is Chad. Sometimes it's about the small victories. When I can actually go to sleep, when I mean to go to sleep and not fall asleep in a chair like an old man and then wake up, later and bleary-eyed and then drag myself to bed. That's a good night. That's what happened last night. I was up doing some work. I got work done. I had finished watching Texas whip Gonzaga, doing a little work after that, and then I went to bed when I wanted to go to bed. Got a good, 5-6 hours of sleep and apparently, and went through puberty. But I did it all breathing well. That's the key. I breathe in and out through my nose when I sleep now. Such a simple thing to say, but it is the most critical thing. If you have sleep apnea issues, if you maybe your nasal passages are blocked up like mine were, maybe it's because of just the way it's constructed, or it could be about sinus infections, it could be about allergies. You need to get it checked out. Don't let it continue to get worse. I am so glad I went in there in 2017 and met Dr. Slaughter. He'll meet you in that first consultation, prides himself on that. He will respect those appointment times because he knows you are busy, and he will figure out what's going on with you in terms of sleep, in terms of the allergies, in terms of sinus, whatever it is that's causing your issues. He will get to the bottom of it and let you know what they can do. Call and set up an appointment today, 512-601-0303, or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's sinus and snoring specialists. Feel clear, rested, and healthy. Oh, how about hour number 2 on a Thursday? First off, Music Snob revisit. Hazy Shade of Winter apparently was done by Simon and Garfunkel and maybe was never done by the Mamas and the Papas. I thought I had that right. I guess I was wrong. Either way, I'm going to still say the Bengals version's better. All right? I'm just going to say it. That's what I believe. I like the Bengals version better, and definitely check out Less Than Zero. All right, it's Chad and Zay on a Thursday. We got the Flex segment coming up, including games getting started tonight as far as the second round of the playoffs, plus an absolutely heartbreaking story that happened to a football player in this area, and you may want to help out. There is a GoFundMe, just an unreal story that happened to a local football player. We're going to get to that at 1:30. Right now, though, he is right here in studio with us, but we still need to give Vaqueros some love. The Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline brings you all the guests. If you haven't gone over for some of the best Tex-Mex you'll ever have, check out Vaqueros over here on 360. I'm Chad Hastings. Zay Collier is alongside. He's got a big smile on his face because of that basketball team. And this guy was there last night too. Jeff Howe, horns247.com. The Longhorn Blitz podcast hits you on Wednesdays. Replay coming tonight at 8 after Longhorn Weekly. And of course, Light the Tower, 10 to 12 every day.
Yes, sir.
So you were at the Moody Center last night to watch not the official first game, of course, but this really was the first one that was going to test out, hey, can you get the environment you want?
It's like when a store has a soft opening, then you have the grand opening.
That's right. This was definitely the grand opening. What'd you think?
First off, I like the fact, I don't think this person's ever texted Light the Tower. I like the fact that Left Testy chimed in on the Specs text line. So that's
We have an interesting audience.
We have high class texters from this 12 to 3
Highbrow
slot.
radio going
Jeff.
on 12 to 3.
Oh yeah, real high class. Real high class.
Snoop and I have had, trust me, 10 to noon is not highbrow whatsoever.
Just for the record, what does Left Testy want to talk about today?
Something about they weren't a fan of the McConaughey bit.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of Longhorn fans not enjoying that. I thought I'd throw it out as a question just to see. Apparently, it is not the last ingredient of cool that they want to embrace. They may have to adjust that one.
But I tell you what, that when I first went into that building this summer at a basketball availability, watched a little practice, I'm like, dude, this thing's gonna be a game changer for a basketball environment. Like, it's aesthetically, the logistics is probably a bad word, but just the setup of it, it's so much better than the Irwin Center. It's so much more of you felt like the Irwin Center was just this like event center that you played some basketball there. This is a basketball arena that also hosts concerts and comedy acts and whatever. It's freaking phenomenal. And last night when you had the sequence where you had the Marcus Carr had the lob to Dylan Mitchell for the dunk, then you get the steal, and then Rice lobs it to Mitchell for the dunk. Like, the place was shaking. Like, it was as loud as I've ever heard a basketball arena. Definitely louder than probably I've ever heard. I always contend like the loudest I ever heard the Irwin Center wasn't for Texas basketball. It was Zay, I know you went to your share. It was when the UIL had the state tournament there.
Yeah.
Those are the loudest times I ever heard the Irwin Center. So last night was impressive. I mean, are you going to have the same kind of crowd when you're back for, the next game there is Creighton, so it'll probably be close. But, yeah, it was tremendous last night, and the corral makes a huge difference in how that arena plays.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, Jeff, last night was impressive. By the way, where we staying, what hotel we staying at that first weekend of April?
Zay is already making his Houston plans.
What hotel we staying in? I'm just saying.
I'm cheap, Zay, so I might go cover Saturday, drive back Sunday, then drive back Monday.
I got some kinfo in the H, so I might have to stay with them. But on a serious note, this Horns basketball team, they were very impressive last night. And, I'm coming down from that high, and I just have to think, this Gonzaga team, that's not what we've seen in recent years. How good are they really at number 2? And yes, they did beat a good Michigan State team outside, in which that Michigan State team beat Kentucky in overtime, 2 overtimes. But this Horns team was impressive. How much was it the Horns look good, or this Gonzaga team just not what they normally are?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I heard Jeff Goodman talking about this last night, who was at the game, by the way. Gonzaga, what they don't have right now they don't have that other guy to pair with Timmy like they've had, whether it's been a Chet Holmgren or a Jalen Suggs. Like, they don't have that second guy that they can go to right now. Maybe it ends up being Rasir Bolton, but Zay, I don't know about you. Like, when Rasir Bolton had that drive where he drew the foul on Christian Bishop, I think that made it 60. I think it was 61-41 at that point, or 61-40. It was 61-43 at that point. The media timeout hits. I'm like, man, Bolton's been quiet. That was his first field goal. Rasir Bolton finished with 11 points. He didn't make a field goal at any point when that game mattered. Nolan Hickman's had trouble with turnovers, and he did last night. 27 points off turnovers. By the way, I don't know if you guys caught the stat. I said it on the air this morning. We talk about Texas needing to run, and I think when you can push the ball off live ball turnovers, and that's how you get 27 points off turnovers. But they've got a 53-3 edge in fast break points through their first 3 games. Now, granted, it's UTEP and Houston Christian, but they turned Gonzaga over 20 times. Mark Few said some of it was us. He's like, a lot of it was their pressure on the ball. So I think it's Gonzaga, maybe not quite what they've been. They're still going to be a good team. They're still going to be a team that can make a run in March. But maybe not right now, not quite what they've been, but they got to turn right around and play Kentucky. So I don't know how Mark Few's feeling this morning. But Texas, the thing that I took away, Zay, last night that was the biggest takeaway for me was the newcomers, the guys that they added in the offseason. Chris Beard talked about this. They added guys that were at whatever level they were at before, wherever they were before, they won. Tyrese Hunter helped Iowa State get to a Sweet 16. Jabari Rice has won conference championships and helped New Mexico State win a tournament game last year. Arterio Morris won at a high level at Kimball. Dylan Mitchell, his high school program, won the mythical national championship last year. So these guys come from winning backgrounds. And for all those guys, the game, the moment didn't look too big for those guys last night. Like Tyrese Hunter, his poise, his calmness, I thought was really impressive. I'm president of the Jabari Rice fan club. We all saw
I'm
Dylan
right
Mitchell
there
did.
with you.
Yeah. So I thought their poise, their calmness to really fit in. And look, for the returners, Marcus Carr said at point blank, he's like, we've been thinking about this ever since we left Spokane last year. So they watched that Gonzaga film a lot since that happened last year.
If you take about 4 sips of cognac, spin around probably about 8 times, tilt your head to the side and cover one eye, Tyrese Hunter looks like number 11. Now, you got to do all that.
Oh, wow.
You got to do all that. Think about what I just said. Think about what I just said. Again,
cognac in that Kool-Aid, huh?
Yeah, you might take 6 sips of that cognac. Everybody's tolerance is different. And remember, take a lot of spins and tilt that head to the side, cover one eye. You see a little bit of 11. Just a little bit.
How about we go with 14?
DJ Augustine.
Little DJ Augustine.
I'm with that.
Okay. Because look, man, that's like, to me, when you talk about Terrence Gerard Ford and you want to compare him to somebody, to me, that's like looking at a Texas quarterback saying, it kind of reminds me of VY. It's like, slow down.
Whoa.
Slow down.
Whoa, easy.
Hey, you see how intoxicated you have to get? I didn't say just straight up look like him. You got to do a lot. You got to do a lot to see it. You got to do a ton to see it.
Well,
maybe do some sprints after you take that look with one eye. But yeah, I see it. Barely.
Jeff, to your point, after the game, when Tyrese Hunter says to anybody who asked him a question, we expected to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the calm nature. Like, I know because right away the fans didn't storm the court, but then I think some fans kind of got on the court afterwards.
They got invited to take a picture with the team.
Yeah,
so
that's
they do that bit every home game.
So it wasn't a true court storming or anything. They handled that like big brand, type fans. And then I just thought the team handled it so well in terms of like, I don't know, this is what we thought was going to happen. Tyrese Hunter is a guy that, I feel like is really, obviously helped to tie things together and also get Marcus Carr, would you guys agree, into a better situation for him? Like, I just feel like those two guys, there was a concern, right, for how they're going to play off each other, how they're going to play together. Well, check that box. In the first big game, what they end up with, is it 42 together?
And I'll throw Rice in there too. When you can play those 3 guys together, you've got 3 guys that obviously handle it well enough to be the lead guard. But Carr last night, like, I wish Marcus Carr, like, I don't know, just Chris Beard just needs to tell him, like, look, just pretend the other team is wearing a Kansas jersey or a Gonzaga jersey or a Baylor jersey. Like, play every game like it's a big game. Like, Marcus Carr, really for the midpoint last year, has just shown up really big in big games. But you got all 3 of those guys that can be your lead guard. And Zay, with the way Tyrese Hunter's shooting the ball last night, we know Jabari Rice is a 37% career shooter from three. We know Marcus Carr can fill it up. All three of those guys can play off the ball. So those three guys mix really well. I know we talk about Tyrese and Marcus, and that's what getting Tyrese was supposed to do, was allow you to play Marcus off the ball. He's much better when he can go off a screen and catch and shoot rather than just, having the ball in his hands and trying to, dial up an ISO for him and let him try to create on his own. He's much better when he can come off a screen, move without the ball, get himself open, create his shot that way. That's what that does. But again, I think it's all three of those guards playing together that make this backcourt really good. And I'll add this too, real quick. When we talk about the bigs, you could tell the Christian Bishop, Brock Cunningham, Dylan Dessou didn't play in the Gonzaga game last year. You could tell that they got sick and tired of hearing about that 37 Drew Timme put up in Spokane last year. I thought they battled. I don't know where you are on this day. I feel like from a size standpoint, they stared the devil in the face when they played Purdue last year. I mean, when you're going against Edey and the bigs that they've got, you're like, look, we're not going to face a bigger group of forwards than those guys. And so they took the fight right to Drew Timme. All three of those guys did. Brock Cunningham had maybe the best sequence of his career last night with the 7 straight points, including the steal, and forced a turnover on Timme. Christian Bishop, I thought, had a nice game last night. And then Dylan Dessou, when he's healthy, his ability to stretch the floor, step out, and shoot, made a 3 last night, had 12 points. But I thought Texas did a really good job of making Gonzaga set their offense just past the midcourt line, force Drew Timme to come up a little bit. Just don't let him catch the ball deep in the paint. Early they were able to do that, but they adjusted, and that made it easier to set the trap, to set the double team. So I just thought defense last night was phenomenal.
Jeff Howe hanging in studio with us as he does every Thursday. Remember, Longhorn Blitz podcast, that replay tonight at 8 o'clock. If you want to check it out, you can also access it all the time, horns247.com or anywhere you get your podcast. Jeff, speaking of that, in Longhorn Blitz, you guys dig deep into Longhorn football.
Is there a football game this weekend?
There is. Give me your thoughts on Texas going to Lawrence, and let's just be honest, trying to get revenge for what Kansas did to them last year.
I hope they respect Kansas as much as I think they should, because it's scary how much Kansas's profile matches TCU's profile. Just from the standpoint, especially with Jalen Daniels, and I'm expecting Jalen Daniels at this point, all signs are pointing to him starting this game, making his return for this game.
What was he hurt with?
Shoulder,
okay.
When you get him, Andy Kotelnicki runs one of the more dynamic, unique, fun offenses in the country. I heard Rod talking about it yesterday going into it on Bald Online. He's exactly right. They will run multiple back sets. They will go. They'll go empty formation. They'll line up in the Maryland I. That's that formation in the old NCAA football game that nobody used. They'll line up in the Maryland I. They'll go. They've got triple option principles in their offense, so it's really unique. And when Daniels is pulling the trigger, they're about as good as anybody. They're they're top 20 offense in the country right now, and they're in terms of total offense, they're leading the Big 12 in yards per play right now, almost 7.4. On the flip side of that, similar to TCU, man, they're bad on defense. They give up a lot of chunk yardage plays on the ground, through the air. The difference is, we'll see if Kansas plays any of that 3 down, 3 high. That's not how they roll on defense. But as much as Steve Sarkisian struggled against it, as much as Quinn Ewers has struggled against it, you might, if you've got that in your toolkit, you might as well just throw it out there and see how it works. That's been the struggle for Sark. That was a struggle against TCU, is dealing with the 3 down, 3 high safety defense. But I don't think you're going to see that. If you see it from Kansas, I don't think you're going to see very much of it, because it's just not something that they specialize in. So from that standpoint, maybe Texas gets a break this week.
Jeff, the offensive line took another step back against TCU. We saw Kelvin Banks. Heard you mention his hand injury during Light the Tower. That's not good. And just the whole offensive line really struggled with getting pressure put on them with TCU and their defense. I thought Coach Gillespie did a good job of drawing up stuff to stop Bijan Robinson and to really get pressure on Quinn. But how do you think this offensive line fares to Kansas' front line?
Shout out to this text on the Specs text line that says they loved using the Maryland I in the video game. So you're one of like 3 people that did.
I hope they bring that back in the new one.
No, look, the book is out on how to stop Texas, right? We talked about this on the Longhorn Blitz podcast week. The book is out, right? stack the box to stop the run, blitz on early rundowns, get them in unfavorable third downs, and force Quinn Ewers into a predictable passing down where then you can turn the dogs loose or, drop 8 into coverage or whatever and just keep Texas behind the chains all night. That's one thing the spin TCU put on it. They run blitzed a ton, just blitzed on rundowns a lot. And Texas, they were trying to get their zone running game going, and the one thing that will kill a zone running game is penetration. Penetration will kill a zone running game. They never really got anything on track. They tried to run some gap schemes, but nothing was really hitting. And I just think it's one of those deals with this offensive line. It's part of the process of this group continuing to grow together. And I know at this point, like you can say, well, they're starting two true freshmen and a true sophomore. Yeah, they are, but it takes an offensive line time to grow together. And similar to the young quarterback, you've kind of just got to ride that wave, go through the growing pains, and sometimes it's a slow burn to get that group where you want it to be. I'll say this about the Texas O-line. They've surpassed my expectations this year. They're better as a group than I thought they would be. But I thought, you look at the 2 worst games they played, Zay, I just thought at times they just physically lost battles against Alabama. I just thought TCU beat them last week, not necessarily by overpowering them one-on-one, but just throwing a lot of bodies at the line of scrimmage and making it really hard for them to pick up stuff.
So last one from me. I'm going to ask a question I haven't heard asked. I know there's been a lot of talk about all the deep shots. Some people think it should be less deep shots, but we know he's going to take them. And we know he's going to take them until he hits them or misses a ton.
That's like the benching the quarterback conversation. Like it's going. It is what it is. Like just stop wasting breath on it.
So here's the question. Here's the question, Jeff. We know he's going to take the shots. Is he throwing it to the wrong guy? Is there some other guy? They tried it with Worthy a lot, and they tried it with Jatavian Sanders early in a game. Is there a guy that you would suggest, hey, Sark, I know you're going to take the shots. Why not try that guy once or twice and see if it works better?
Number 5 be a good place to start.
There's an idea.
Look.
Make it a big wheel, or would you put him in the slot? What do you do?
You can put him in the slot. He's got the best hands on the team. Like you realize Bijan Robinson's averaging 16.5 yards per catch this year?
Oh, you say that like that's good.
Yeah,
like that's impactful or something.
After he caught that pass from Iowa State, you should be putting him
he's
on
awesome.
the wide receiver spot all the time.
Not just that.
It's a good idea.
Like, your screen game is really good. They didn't use any running back screens in the TCU game. That was the thing that I had the biggest complaint with coming out of the TCU game with Sark. I'm like, with control, you control your own destiny for the Big 12 title game. It's a massive home game. You can make a statement. How does maybe the best offensive player in the country in that game with 12 touches and none in the pass game?
Yeah.
It's just
none in the red zone, or was it just a couple in the red zone?
I think it was a couple in the red zone.
Oh, just a couple carries in the red zone? Yeah.
And then Quinn obviously missed him on the wheel route where he got open. But that's where I would start. I would start with Bijan. I think the thing Sark has to do, and I think this is kind of where both of them are struggling right now, Sark and Quinn Ewers, when they both get in a bind. I think with Quinn's inexperience, I think when Sark starts pressing and hunting those deep shots, I think in turn Quinn presses. Because he just hasn't been in these situations before. And it's part of his growth, part of his maturation. But I think Sark, you need, especially when you face that 3 down, 3 high, they're going to give you the short game. Are you patient enough to take it? And he hasn't been patient enough to take it.
No.
If he is, I would assume Kansas is going to play some kind of drop coverage. But is Sark patient enough to take it? Will Quinn Ewers be patient enough to take it? And if you start to look, there's a lot worse plays you can dial up than a bubble screen for Jordan Whittington. I'm serious. There's a lot worse plays you can dial up. Get your perimeter guys involved. I mean, like the smoke screen to Savion Red was one of the best plays they had in the K-State game. Didn't see that against TCU. So there's a lot of stuff you can do other than hitting deep shots. But yes, Chad, you're right. Sark is going to take them. I will say this, though. If in that opening script, if they hit a deep shot, that's when I think you'll see Sark work the other parts of the field.
Yeah, it could change everything. They just have to hit it, though.
Go back to the go back to the Alabama game. Once you hit that deep shot, now it's like, okay, they're stressed vertically, and my game plan works. Let's attack them every which way.
Yep.
Jeff, what's the scarier rumor? And it's just speculation, but it's been going around social media. 2 things I saw this week. What's the scarier rumor? Gary Patterson leaving to maybe go to a Nebraska, or Xavier Worthy leaving?
Xavier Worthy leaving. Because I think here,
How accurate is that rumor?
it's just rumor right now. Zay, I mean, look, regardless of whether it has any weight or not, you still got 2 games in the regular season left. So there's no point in spending brain power getting worked up about it. You're getting worked up about something you have no control over right now. So I wouldn't.
I mean, 20 touchdowns in 20-something games, that's pretty damn good. Why would you want to leave any part of that?
I mean, he's roommates with Quinn Ewers. So
okay.
They live together. So yeah, it's like I said, I wouldn't get too worked up about that right now. Everything that we've heard, we reported in the Insider this morning. He's locked in. He's devoted to helping this team. So that stands where it stands. The Gary Patterson thing, this got brought up in the Insider. My colleague Chip Brown reported this, and I think it gives you hope if you're a Texas fan that GP might stick around for a little bit. If he's out of active coaching, like doesn't have like a full-time coaching role for 3 years, he's eligible for induction into the College Football Hall of Fame, which is apparently a really big deal to him. So he's had this past offseason, he had Power 5 coordinator opportunities, and he turned them down. I think for right now, he's happy doing what he's doing. I think it would have to take a really unique opportunity to get him back, and I don't know that Nebraska is necessarily that opportunity.
That is Jeff Howe. Check out horns247.com. Longhorn Blitz podcast. Remember that replay is tonight at 8, and then Light the Tower every day 10 to noon at Jeff Howe 247 on Twitter.
My 10-year-old self is like blown away right now that I just said Nebraska might not be a prime opportunity.
Yeah.
Wish I could go back in time and talk to myself in like 1995. Like, oh man, Nebraska's the greatest team ever. Like, dude, trust me, in about 25, 30 years,
it's gonna be
suck
nothing.
Maybe more than you could ever imagining Nebraska suck.
I actually kind of feel bad for Casey Thompson. Kind of.
Do you?
Kind
Do
of.
you?
He played hard here.
Do you?
Always good to see you, Jeff. You are going to Lawrence, or are you staying here?
I'm going to
You're
Lawrence.
going, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Safe. Freeze my plums off.
Yeah, you are. Safe travels, and check out that pregame show. You just might hear Jeff reporting in from Lawrence. Hopefully you can hear him over all the wind gusts. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jeff.
Lord knows we need those dispatches.
That's right.
Hey, Jeff, get your money up, man. We staying at the Galleria, baby. Come on now.
There it
you don't
is.
need to go back home. We stay at the Galleria. I got you. Let's go.
That JW Marriott's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Zay
Embassy Suites. I got multiple places in the H.
Zay's saving up for a Houston trip. He likes that basketball team, and the Final Four is there. All right, Flex 30 is coming up next, including some games tonight. The second round of the playoffs begins around the state. Plus, coming up at 2:05, Brian Jones of CBS Sports. They've got Georgia, Kentucky, and we'll get his thoughts on Texas and those 2 big matchups in the Pac-12. Don't move. It's the Horn. All right, it's Chad. Let's talk Specs. They are your place. Specs, wine, spirits, and finer foods. A Texas family-owned destination for selection and savings since 1962. That's right, 60 years, your one-stop shop. Literally thousands of wine, spirits, and beers at everyday lower prices. I just stocked up there. I told you as we get ready for the holidays, I got family coming in. My dad and I, we'll share a beer and hopefully watch the Cowboys win this weekend. And if we don't, then we'll be drowning our sorrows. If you're looking to step up your holiday cocktail game or get that great craft beer you've been looking for, this is your place. Also, go online, specsonline.com for ordering online, same-day delivery there in case you are super busy. You get insider info there. You get recipe ideas. You get all kinds of different stuff there. And don't forget to celebrate the season with those gourmet party trays, the homemade pecan pies they're known for, and the lower prices on all your favorites. Specs Arbor Walk, Specs Brody Lane. I hit the Specs out in Elgin, sometimes Round Rock. They have all kinds of great locations. Find the one that is right for you, but just remember, the fun starts at Specs. Oh, yeah. A lot of y'all know this one, don't you? Come on now. Some good 80s hard rock for you. Oh, I think we're knocking at your back door on this one, Deep Purple.
That's right.
Yes, there it is. Lucy was a dancer, but none of us would chance her because she was a samurai. Oh, I remember this. Dude, my brother thought this was the coolest song on the face of the earth. He wore this thing out. And as the little brother, I was just following along, trying to learn the words to Deep Purple. Never saw him live, though. That was my only mistake back in the day. Deep Purple, the Bangles, and Smokey on the show today. Thanks to Jeff Howe for jumping on the show. As always, I can't deny it. With that smile on her face. All right, turn it down. I'll sing the whole song. It's a great song. That's a great song. It's not the kill. It's the thrill of the chase. Knocking at your back door. Come on now. All right. Lots of good stuff with that basketball team last night. Texas whipping Gonzaga. We just talked some football with Jeff Howe. We'll get into more of that with Brian Jones at 2:05. CBS has Georgia, Kentucky this week. 2 ranked matchups in the Pac-12. We'll get into all that. Plus, what did he think of Texas and TCU? He, like I think a lot of folks last week, were leaning towards Texas, thinking they could get it done. They didn't. I know he can't be happy with he was happy with the defense, I'm sure, but now we got to talk to him about that offense. That's coming up at 2. Right now, though, we will remind you, Ball Don't Lie at 7, Longhorn Weekly with Coach Sark. What does he have to say about it? At 7 o'clock tonight, you will find out. And then the Longhorn Blitz podcast replay is at 8 o'clock tonight. All right, let's jump into a Flex 30 segment and hit some of these games.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
All right, FLXATX.com. You want some games tonight to go check out? You can go to FLXATX.com, go to the schedules page, and you can see where these games are being played. For instance, the Ganado-Thorndale game, that's over in Bastrop Memorial Stadium. I got 2 ideas for you. You could go fancy and go to Neighbors, have yourself a great sandwich or a pizza or something and a brew, and then head over. Or if you want to go simple, just hit the Buc-ee's. It's one of the biggest Buc-ee's on the face of the earth in Bastrop. Just go get you a bag of yogurt-covered pretzels and go hit the game.
Yeah, or get you a nice chopped beef sandwich.
Ooh, they do have good sandwich. Chicken salad. I've had all kinds of good stuff there.
Yeah, chicken sandwiches. Buc-ee's is a spot.
Oh, God. You can spend way too much money in that place.
You can.
Way too much.
Yeah, it can get dangerous.
So you got Thorndale, Flatonia. The Geronimo Navarro game is tonight as well. Best of luck to all those teams getting started. The other thing I thought we should mention today, Zay, is this crazy New Braunfels story. So coming up tomorrow, it's going to be Westlake and New Braunfels. We all understand what's probably happening in that game because Westlake has won 50, 51 in a row, whatever it is. They'd probably beat them anyway. But New Braunfels had one of the crazy stories I've ever heard happen to them last week, right before their first playoff game. Their starting quarterback fell off a telephone pole and broke multiple bones, got electrocuted, got burned, and he was electrocuted by a live wire, fell from 20 to 30 feet off this pole, and he's been taken yesterday, taken out of intensive care and placed in the progressive care burn unit. He's been going through physical therapy, working with a TheraBand for him to have movement in his arms. I'm getting this from the San Antonio paper, by the way. Got out of bed and brushed his teeth. That was a big deal along the way. So we just want to send out best thoughts and a quick recovery to Leighton Adams is his name. They have set up a GoFundMe. So for those of you listening out there, maybe you're out here in the Westlake community and this story kind of connects with you. I'm just trying to imagine, Zay, what this family's going through, what this team is going through. I don't know the particulars of the story of what was he doing up on the pole and all that kind of stuff. But, that's a heartbreaker the quarterback of the team can't play because of something like this. Messed up an ankle, I think broke his other leg, and then broke the L2 and L3 vertebra as well.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, like the dude was, pretty serious stuff. At this point, you would say he was able to get the neck brace taken off. It feels like things are moving in a good way. He's been able to, initially he had burns on both hands. Let's see, both of his hands and arms, damage to the ankle, underwent surgery, and then fractured the L2 and L3. So
yeah, thank goodness he's not paralyzed or anything like that.
Yeah, hopefully he was going to be all right. The woman who set up the GoFundMe's name is Shelly Minus, M-I-N-U-S. It's a family friend, and they have raised over $23,000. But if you would like to help out, go find that GoFundMe and maybe help them out. Man, that's just terrible stuff. But now New Braunfels, and then they went and won their playoff game. 17-13, whoever that backup quarterback is, shout out to him for figuring it out. But, man, that is tough stuff.
Yeah, shame on Cliff Kingsbury on not saying the name New Braunfels when he was kind of introducing where he came from on Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is doing the Arizona Cardinals day.
I watched a little bit of this week's episode. I did.
When they were going back, he was like, I grew up in a small Texas town. My dad was the coach, so if you weren't doing well, you were always on the hot seat.
They showed the jersey that said Unicorns, but you're right, he never said it.
I'm like, say New Braunfels. I grew up in New Braunfels, Texas. I'm sure everybody would appreciate that from that area. We know you're from a small Texas town. Like, come on now.
Come on, dude.
Rep the Unicorns, Cliff.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the Unicorn family is certainly feeling that one today, and we hope that Adams gets better very, very quickly. And since they will need it, I will wish the New Braunfels Unicorns all the luck in the world against Westlake tomorrow night.
Yeah, you might have to call on Cliff for some play calling to give you an advantage. That's how good Westlake is, and that still won't do anything. Westlake's just on another level.
Yep, that's at Rattler Stadium, by the way, in San Marcos. You can find that full list at flxatx.com. Brian Jones coming up at 2. Up next, it's Where Are We At in Society. Zay sent me something on Twitter yesterday. It's been sitting there all night. I haven't looked at it. Zay told me not to. Up next, I'm going to find out what it is, and you will too on The Horn. Definitely one I feel like I should know. It only sounds like one guy. There's only one guess I can make here. Peter Cetera.
What group was he in?
Chicago.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. So it's one of those two, right? That time frame, it's either the band or it's him. Chicago, yes. That band's had more eras than maybe any band out there.
They can switch it up, huh?
They really can. Started as the Chicago Transit Authority, I think is what they were first called. And through the years, they have had all kinds of different sounds, different moments, different eras. And Peter Cetera certainly was a big part of that 80s hunk of Chicago. But there's some catchy-ass stuff in there. I'm not going to lie to you. There's some catchy Chicago songs.
I like this song.
Dude, this is that era. There's some catchy stuff there. Even I'll hear it today, and I'll just be singing along. So I understand. Chicago, Deep Purple, the Bengals, and Smokey. Well, it has had kind of an 80s vibe to it today. On a Thursday, Longhorns beat Gonzaga, and I mean beat them, 93-74. Longhorn fans got to enjoy that one all the way through their evening. We've gotten the reactions throughout the day on that. A lot of stuff going on there. We've got the football getting set up tonight. You got Titans and Packers. We got Cowboys, Minnesota on Sunday, and of course, Longhorns in Kansas on Saturday. By the way, somebody sent us a little message here when I was setting up the stuff in the Flex segment. Apparently, it is called the city or town is Ganado. Says I was born there. Don't try churching it up. Raised in Edna, we've always been at each other's throats, kind of like Lake Travis and Drip. Have a good day. Love the show with you and Zay. Appreciate that. So it is Ganado taking on Thorndale tonight. Tonight, Bastrop. Ganado.
I call it the NATO.
The NATO?
I never call it that, but it sounds cool.
Ganado. We want to make sure we get it right. D-A,
not T-H-E, the NATO.
Duh, that's right. Dope. Guh. NATO. That's right. Guh. All right.
I'm trying to make it cool, and you're bringing it back.
I know.
We got to get you back to the cookout. You got time.
I won't say it again. You say it, and I won't say it again. Go ahead.
The NATO.
There you go. Perfect.
That's just the slang for good NATO.
Perfect. All right. I will leave it there. Let's go where we at in society, see what Zay's got.
Where are we at in society today?
So what you sent me yesterday is now invalid? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, squash that. What I sent you yesterday, it was a little weak. It was about the snuggle bear that you could buy. That's like 180 pounds if you're lonely and stuff. It's weak. It's a weak story. But
it's creepy, too.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
Yeah,
not going to lie. What I got for you today, though, the
Yes.
Washington Commanders handled their business by upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles this past week. And on the plane ride back, which is a pretty short plane ride from Philly to D.C., so I don't know how these guys got to celebrate like they did, but they did. The Commanders celebrated a la Vikings and put all the chains on my man Kirk Cousins. They had him iced out just like the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, I'm sorry.
You mean on Heineke.
With Taylor Heineke,
right.
Like the Vikings do with Kirk Cousins, which I dig. I love the Taylor Heineke, how he buys a fresh pair of J's, the same color of the team he beats, just bought some very clean white and green 4s for the Eagles. So I'm with this, but Longhorn alum, cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings, Chris Boyd, was very offended.
He was not excited.
Oh, he said on Twitter, with the retweet.
Yeah, be careful.
Stop trying to effing be us, you lames. He couldn't hold Kirk's jock strap.
Wow.
Find your own trend. Y'all ish don't even look like y'all having fun enjoying it.
Wow.
And they just beat the Commanders a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, they did.
In that very tough 20-17 battle. So, Commanders, they can't really say much. They're sitting at the bottom of their division, a really good division in the NFC East. We know that. But the Vikings are sitting on top of their division in the NFC North. I love what Chris Boyd said, especially him being a Texas alum. Yo, this our quarterback. Y'all ain't ish. Stop trying to beat us, you lames.
That is so funny. Okay, my favorite two comments underneath. One fan says, to be fair, they beat the Eagles for us, so I'll let it slide. But then the best comment was somebody tweeted, gatekeeping wearing chains on a Tuesday afternoon is crazy. I'm with you. I love that Chris Boyd got that fired up about it. Hey, he thinks it's their thing. And not only is it their thing, but nowadays you can kind of put your stamp on it by getting that video out there. It's out there. We've all seen Kirk Cousins. Now, Heineke had a shirt on. So that would be the one layer of difference.
Yeah, clearly Heineke's body isn't what Kurt's is.
Because they've been doing Kirk Cousins with the shirt off, and then they throw the bling on. That is funny. That's like the second team that ever did like a turnover chain or a celebration thing. The first team that started it is thinking, really? Yeah, you got that from us. So Chris Boyd is just trying to protect their, protect their tradition.
This is just a corny white quarterback thing. Let's keep it real.
Yes.
If he wasn't a corny white quarterback, I don't think Chris Boyd would have been offended. Now, if the Ravens were putting chains on Lamar Jackson, then he'd be like, oh, this makes sense. Lamar Jackson has chains.
You're saying this doesn't happen with black quarterbacks? You're saying
hell no.
You're saying nobody's putting a chain on Jalen Hurts on a plane and celebrating a victory?
No, Jalen Hurts is from the H. I'm pretty sure he knows what jewelry is. Like, they were big on Byzantines and ice and stuff, Jacob the Jeweler, etc. Jalen Hurts knows what jewelry is. But guys like a Kirk Cousins, a Taylor Heineke, a Daniel Jones, hell, maybe even a Josh Allen to a certain extent. Now, Josh Allen has a lot of swag, so this would, it would be off on him too. But if you're a corny white quarterback, we always talk about the NFL and all these other sports. It's a copycat league. So
they're copying the celebration.
Copying the celebration. Okay. But I also see where Chris Boyd is.
Okay, let me ask you the opposite side of the question then. If this is indeed something that is happening along racial lines, if you're right, and this is about dorky white quarterbacks, let's go the other way. If a black quarterback in the NFL has an incredible game and his white teammates want to show their appreciation on the plane ride back, what do?
Give him a fanny pack. and a Bud Light.
A fanny pack and a Bud Light.
Yeah.
Real quarterback of genius. You just threw 4 touchdowns in our game. Getting you some Bud Light. It fits right on the front.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Covering up the front butt. Okay.
No, I'm not saying Chris Boyd is being racist. No, I'm not saying that. He's protecting his quarterback because he is saying...
He's protecting their tradition.
Their tradition.
He thinks it's their thing.
Yeah, it's our thing. Right. Like the Vikings, we do this with Kurt. We love Kurt. Stop trying to copy us.
By the way, is this the very first time any human being has ever used the phrase blank can't hold Kirk's jock? Is this the first time Kirk Cousins has ever heard that said about him? Come on, man.
Yeah,
Probably.
Kirk
Cousins' best friend has never thought that in his life, much less said it out loud. No. And now you got a teammate going, hey, you can't hold Kirk Cousins' jock.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is from Cornyville, Michigan. He's not used to this at all.
Hey, man,
they're rolling. I can't hate on them. They're rolling.
They're rolling, and it will surprise me if the Cowboys beat them. I'm just going to say it right now.
Cowboys are favored. Vegas, Vegas.
Yeah, I think that's a wrong team favorite. I do not like that matchup for the Cowboys at all.
I don't either.
If you got Cook in your fantasy league, play him. Play him this week. That Cowboys run defense bothers me a lot going into that game. I think the Cowboys are maybe in a little trouble there. Hope I am wrong. Up next, let's talk a little more football, the college variety, with Brian Jones of CBS Sports. What does he think of their matchup with Georgia and Kentucky, the two Pac-12 matchups? Plus, we're going to ask him about the Longhorns as well. That's coming up on The Horn. All right, hour number 3 on a Thursday. Hour number 3 always starts with Zay's choice for a beat. Yeah, this is Beyonce, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Got
Yeah.
me looking so crazy right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the song where everybody was like, oh, this Beyonce girl, maybe she
Oh.
could go solo
My Lord.
and do all right.
So is it called like You Got Me Looking So Crazy Right Now or Crazy
Crazy
right?
in Love.
Crazy in Love.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And this is all the dancing and the, oh my God. Yeah, she's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. So the Queen Bee. Can I say that and sound cool? Probably not.
No, but yeah, it's close.
No? Yeah, thanks for your
Hey,
honor.
you knew the song, so that helps you
I did know the song.
That helps you get back to the cookout.
I did know the song. Excellent. Yes, I'm going to try that. As long as I can stay at the cookout, I'm going to stop talking. All right, so we've got a lot of football on the board today. And, of course, talking Texas basketball, the win over Gonzaga, but also Longhorns getting ready for Kansas, Cowboys getting ready for the Vikings. We've even got 2 ranked matchups out west in the Pac-12. Let's dig into some college football on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. One of our favorite conversations of the week. It is Brian Jones of CBS Sports. They've got Georgia, Kentucky for you at 2:30 this week. Brian, how are you?
Hey, man, I'm better now. You playing all that pulsating pleasure, Beyonce.
That's right.
So I was doing horrible, all this pulsating despair. Cowboys, Longhorns. Let's talk hoops.
Yeah.
Come on, let's do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brian, when you texted me earlier today and said, can we talk Texas basketball? They set the edge better. I just thought that was a little bit rude. I mean, I really did.
Hey, man, that was fabulous to watch them last night. Those guys were just after it. They were staying on top of Gonzaga like fungus on a tree. I loved it. Just smothered them.
Yeah, they were absolutely fantastic. And then, Brian, on the football side, Texas experienced something I'm sure you have before because you were a member of defenses back in the day that at times were badass and at times put out an incredible performance and you deserved better, but your offense couldn't help you out. How surprised were you at how TCU beat them?
I was very surprised. I don't think anyone envisioned that game being a slugfest, which it turned out to be. Both defenses were kicking butt. The Texas defense, as you guys know, albeit for 2 plays, and I unfortunately have been part of games where you've had busted coverages. I'm still haunted by a play in the Colorado game, or a couple of plays, but one in particular where I could have sworn that I told my outside backer we had a banjo call, which was a switch of coverage, and it didn't go through. And next thing you know, the tight end is running free down the field. So been in those situations. Obviously, a lack of communication between Cook and the cornerback on the play where Quentin Johnson scored, and then the run play for Kendre Miller. That one was even more sickening. I think, as a backer, and that's the backer's play, and I'm watching this number 3 bounce. You got a little fold block with the guard. And he goes inside. There's nothing inside. That's why Miller cut back outside or cut back through the B gap. And 3 should have been there waiting for him. There's nothing in there, man. And I understand your read took you there, but your read should also take you back to where back to whence you came, as they say. And it did. And next thing you know, Miller's outrunning the entire defense. So once again, technique, lack of communication cost this defense. Other than that, I thought they were outstanding. That 88, Sorrell, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly.
Yep.
He was lights out. Barron was lights out, very physical play. They got after it, man, and really played their hearts out. And unfortunately, we saw the offense with some improvement. They haven't done a damn thing in the second half, and they improved to not doing a damn thing in the first half. I mean, it was.
That's not progress, Brian. That's not progress.
I'm trying to be positive, Chad.
I see. Okay, fair enough.
I'm trying to be positive, man. But there was nothing positive about that. And in those type of games, analytics be damned. You go with your gut, and your gut tells you we're going to continue to pound this rock. I don't care if we're not picking up anything. We're going to continue to pound the rock. I got a dude over here who's one of the best in all of college football. He ran for over 209 yards, or over 200. Might have been right at 209 a week ago. I'm going to continue to feed that dude and just play some old man football. Guys, I watched Alabama and Ole Miss last week do exactly that. They got the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, but yet they went to McClellan during that second half and they pounded the hell out of Ole Miss, just continued pounding them with the run. They went back to old Alabama, old man football, and that won the day. They have an identity. Texas does not have a freaking identity. What is it? And on the flip side, TCU continued to run the ball because they say, hey, this is going to be one of those games. We got to figure out another way to win. And so defense continue to do what you do, and offense eventually will get something on the board, and that's what happened. Unfortunately, it was a few mistakes by Texas to help them, but they stayed with the run, man, and you have to do that in these type of ball games. And for the life of me, I don't understand why Texas abandons the run game when you got a stud over there. Feed his ass. I'm watching a freshman, Quinshon Judkins, at Ole Miss getting 35, 36 carries. That's a freshman. You got a dude that's been on campus for 3 years, and he gets 12 carries. 12? That's it? And I don't even want to start with the quarterback play. I don't know what the hell's going on there. The dude entered the game with a 46 completion percentage over his last few ball games, and now it's dipped down to 45%. So something is amiss with the quarterback. You got drops, O-line leaky. We knew that was going to be a work in progress, but, man, you're in the 10th game of the season. Come on. No more excuses. You either get better or you're getting worse. And so that was just sickening to watch. The grand opportunity to continue to control your own destiny, and they just wasted it. And now hopefully they can pick up the pieces and go to a Kansas, a team that's been a nemesis over the last 3 or 4 years, and get right, and then hope, because that's all you have left. Win and hope. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, B. Jones, a team that scores over 40-something points a game, and you hold them to 17, and you can't win that game. It's real frustrating, man.
You can't win that game. You don't even score. The defense had to score a touchdown. You put 3 points on the board. How many times were they on the goal line? I know they had a first and goal at the 2, and what was the other one? First and goal at the 5 or something?
Yeah, and Bijan didn't touch it either one of those drives or either one of those 4-down possessions.
And then Ewers misses him on the wheel route.
Yep.
Obviously, Ewers had predetermined where he was going with the ball. He had already made up his mind. I'm going Sharp to Sanders across the middle. And you miss a wide open cat, man. It was just frustrating to watch that. And DKR, where Longhorn hopes go to die.
Oh, wow. That was one of the cruelest Les Miles paraphrasings I've ever heard in my life. Wow.
Everybody was back on and we boosted hopes, and all right, we got this. And TCU has owned Texas more than Texas has owned them, and yet couldn't get a W, man. And all these damn penalties on the special teams. You want to be aggressive, but it has to be a controlled aggression when you're going after those punts. Dude, I made a living on those special teams, man. And you just got to be wise and control when you're running your butt up in there, and especially when you've already amassed a couple of penalties trying to block the punt. So, it was sickening. I was sick.
Yeah.
I'm still sick.
We can tell. Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, hopefully you get some Robitussin for that sickness, B. Jones.
I'm gonna get some of that tussin, baby.
That's it.
All right, let me ask you a playoff rankings question. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU are all 10-0. We know there's a big game in the Big Ten coming up with Michigan and Ohio State, and you clearly cover Tennessee and LSU. What does Tennessee and LSU have to do to maybe get in to that top 4 the next few weeks?
Well, Tennessee keep winning. South Carolina this week, and then they have, I believe, Vandy is their last ball game. I guess you can't sleep on Vandy after what they did to Kentucky. And LSU went out. LSU, if they beat Georgia, and they would have beaten Alabama and Georgia, they would have won the SEC championship. they've got to be in. They're going to be our first two-loss team in the college football playoff, and that's going to muck everything up, man. So I believe those two just went out, and you're going to be all right. TCU, what you have to do is the same, because they left you in that 4-hole, but you showcase a different way of winning ball games. As you said a moment ago, Zay, averaging about 47 points a game, and yet the great ones, the good, very good teams find a way when what they do best is taken away. They find a way to win, and that's what TCU did. They found a way to win, and their defense, giving up almost 30 points a game, holding Texas to 3 points offensively, man, I didn't see that coming at all. This is a defense that has struggled tackling, struggled covering receivers, and yet, they doubled Worthy pretty much all night long. And hell, we can't even find Quentin Johnston on his touchdown catch. So, all three of those teams, they just went out, and this thing's going to get messy. And then you throw Ohio State, Michigan in the mix. That game next week, I'm leaning the Michigan way. Let's say that's a close ball game. No matter who wins, what do you do then? One's going to go to the Big Ten championship game, and so what do you do with one of them? It's going to be crazy. And I hope it's messy, because I want them to expedite this expanded college football playoff instead of waiting at 24 or whenever. Let's do it next year. Come on. They can figure it out.
Absolutely. And by the way, how dare both of you? Neither of you have any evidence that LSU can survive College Station. So how dare you? That game is coming up. Come on now. All right, never mind. All right.
What about eight overtimes for this one?
If there's one overtime, I will consider that a massive victory in that ball game.
You should.
Man. Talking with Brian Jones, CBS Sports. Brian, we'll get to Georgia, Kentucky, which is the game you guys will have. But I want to get your thoughts on these games out west. USC, UCLA. I call it the best looking game in college football because everybody wears the colors. You wore those powder blues for a couple of years. What do you think of this one at the Rose Bowl?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting. I was hitched to UCLA, then DTR, their excellent quarterback, started talking smack, and they posted 62 on SC a year ago, and then he goes out and says that we're going to probably do that again. Like, dude, shut up! You're coming off a loss. Really? You're coming off a loss, and you want to go talk smack? And what do we always say, Chad? You never taunt the alligator till you cross the river.
There it is.
And here this guy is, man, in a rivalry game talking all that smack. So I still think with their running game in Charbonnet, they're tops in the Pac-12. And DTR, if he plays the way he's capable, they can really light this SC defense up. SC has a defensive lineman. I'm not even going to pretend to know how to pronounce his Polynesian name, but he leads the country in sacks. And other than that, they've given up a few games where over 500 yards of offense was amassed. So I think they can – it may turn into a shootout, but I also think UCLA has the better defense. So Caleb Williams, this would be the best defense he's seen in a minute since that Utah game, and we saw what he did against them. So I'm going to stick with UCLA, even though the quarterback is being too mouthy.
Okay.
B. Jones, you got – Georgia and Kentucky this weekend, and with all the players that Georgia lost on the defensive end, Kirby Smart still has a team that looks like they should win a national championship this year. How good has he been overall, and what has impressed you with this Bulldog team?
Well, he was terrible at the SEC media days and leading up to the season, discussing his lack of not athleticism, but bodies on that side of the ball, considering he lost 5 first-rounders and a host of others on the defensive side of the ball. And I knew he was playing possum because he went through this every year at Alabama, every single year. So I knew he had his poker face on, man, and he was going to roll some guys out there who got playing time a season ago because they have a great platoon system. And this Jalen Carter is possibly better than Jordan Davis, the defensive lineman that went number 1 last year. And he's got my man Jamon Dumas Johnson, number 10, who looks exactly he's a carbon copy of Nakobe Dean and Roquan Smith, who just went from the Bears to the Ravens. So Nolan Smith, they lost out on the edge, who was the leading sacker. And that's the one department where they have departed from last year. I think they had 49, 50 sacks. Right now they're sitting at about 16, and they had 6 versus Tennessee. So other than that department, there's the same defense from a year ago. And Malachi Starks, this freshman at safety, oh, my goodness. Folks, go Google his first interception on the season.
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah.
It is sick. It is straight up. We played it again last night on the show. That one and the one he got in the game versus Florida. I still don't know how he hauled that one in between 2 people there in the end zone. So they've always recruited well, especially under Kirby Smart, and they develop these guys, man. And if they're so smart, they block every exit for these running backs. You watch their games, and it's just this guy has his gap. This guy has his gap. This guy, and you watch the ball carrier trying to bounce. Nope, no entry point there. No entry point there. They just block all the barriers, man, or their barriers to entry is just on fleek, as the kids would say.
I thought he said that very well, Zay.
Yeah, it was smooth.
I don't know why you were laughing.
It was smooth. It flowed.
But my old ass don't know what the word even means.
Right.
That's why.
Exactly. All right, Brian, what about Utah at Oregon? The late one out west. What do you think of that? You liking Bo Nix and those Ducks right now?
I'm going to go with Utah. I think they can run the ball, and Cam Rising can use his legs, and they can keep Bo Nix on the sideline. We'll see how healthy that knee is for Bo Nix after having it tweaked and twisted and turned in that game versus Washington. So I don't think they'll be sulking from the loss, but I believe Utah is a team, especially here lately, they've gotten their running game going. I think it's 279 and 306 the last 2 ball games. Obviously, they go up in competition versus Oregon. And Oregon's front 7, that's the teeth of their defense. That back end, as we all witnessed last week, they couldn't cover a bed with a comforter. So whether or not the receivers are present for Utah to cause some problems there, I'm not so sure. But I believe in Cam Rising extending plays. And this secondary for Utah, they came in with a lot of hype during the season, and UCLA tore them up. And we'll see. USC tore them up too. So we'll see if they can handle the receiving core of Oregon. But I'm going to go with the Utes.
All right, B. Jones. Me and Chad, we've been discussing this for a while now because this is the week where majority of the SEC teams play a weak-ass team for no reason, and with the horns about to... The what?
The Governors. Austin P, man, going to Alabama.
The Governors. There you go.
Yeah, with the horns about to go to the SEC, why is this a thing? Like, what's the logic of playing this week so deep into the season and have a majority of the SEC teams play these weak-ass teams that they have to play during this time of the year?
It serves as a bye week. It serves as a bye week for these teams, and it also is a nice payday for UMass going to A&M. Hell, UMass might beat A&M. You never know.
How dare you? Good grief.
Hey, how dare me? Look at their schedule. Look at all those L's on that schedule.
I didn't say you. I didn't say you were wrong. I said, how dare you? That's 2 different things.
Thanks for correcting me, Prof.
Yes.
And the Governors, man, they're going to get a nice little payday and all these others. But LSU better look out because UAB can ball and they can run that rock. So they don't get a day off. And they almost gave up the goods last week on the road there in Arkansas. So I don't think that's a gimme. And man, I remember Coach Nutt sharing with me when he was at Arkansas, and they thought the fan base thought they had a gimme when it was Troy. And Troy had it at the bookend defensive ends. They had DeMarcus Ware.
Yep.
And they had O.C. Umanura.
Yeah.
Played for the Giants all those years.
Yeah, I remember that team. Yep.
Yeah, man. So don't sleep on these teams that you usually circle for homecoming. You better come out and take care of business. But, yeah, that's what it is. It serves as a bye week, and it's a nice payday for these teams.
Yeah, the bottom line, Brian, is do you think when we get to that point, will Texas and Oklahoma just kind of fall in line and schedule those kind of teams in November? Will we see Will we see Texas play like Lamar in November?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to see that. That SEC schedule is rough, especially in the West, man. That is a tough road to hoe.
Yeah, I hope they go to 9 conference games, so maybe it's not as many of those because right now you could schedule 3 of them if you really want to.
Right.
And we
I think they will go to 9 conference games. I agree with you, and that will mitigate that scheduling somewhat. But it serves its purpose, and the starters know, hey, this might not be a big one, but we got to go out and take care of business, and hopefully we're sitting on that bench after the first, especially the second quarter.
Yeah, all right, Brian, I won't even make you pick the Texas-Kansas game. They're too confusing right now for that. What I will do is just get your feelings on something. As a Cowboys fan, what do you make of Ndamukong Suh going to Philly?
I wish he'd gone to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
and
me too.
The way their run game or lack thereof last week versus Green Bay, that was sickening. I told you guys I hadn't watched a game in over a month. I watched that one, and I wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
That was just pathetic. 14 points up in the fourth quarter, can't hold the lead, and sad. So Green Bay is our daddy. Just go ahead and say it. That's our daddy. Can't beat them whether it's postseason, regular season, whether they've lost 4 or 5 straight, and we help them find themselves, and it still stings, man.
Yeah.
What the hell was going on there?
It's terrible.
And here's what's bothering me. You got Michael Parsons, as great as he is, he's concerned with tweeting about Odell Beckham Jr. coming to the Cowboys. His ass didn't even get a sack or even sniff one.
Wow.
Did we lose him?
I upset him so much he hung his phone up. But there he is. There, we lost you there for a second, Brian, but maybe your phone was.
I said, I'm sorry. I said, how about Micah allow the personnel department to worry about who they're not going to bring in, and he concerned himself with the affairs on the field.
Yeah, that's a good
Jones,
idea.
According to Chad, he needs to be making all the decisions for how good their defense has been all year instead of Jerry Jones.
Yes, I do believe in the defensive committee. He and Quinn and DeMarcus Lawrence need to be deciding everything. They need to be making all the big decisions. I'm all for it.
Obviously, they need another D tackle because they couldn't stop a nosebleed with a bag of ice last week. What did Green Bay end up with? About 200 yards on the ground?
Oh, yeah, something like that. No, you're right, Brian. I believed in that theory until I watched that kind of run defense against the Bears. Even in the Bears game, that one worried me. This worried me.
Yep.
And like I've been saying, if your kryptonite is run defense, you ain't Superman. That's just something you suck at. That's not stop calling it. Wow, that's their kryptonite. Running the ball? That's not what that is. That just means you're bad at it. That
means you suck.
Yeah, that's Brian Jones. He definitely does not suck, and CBS Sports never ever sucks at 2:30 on a Saturday. It's those Georgia Bulldogs and that incredible defense taking on Kentucky this week. Check him out, and he's on Twitter at Jones and Famo if you want to give him a follow. Brian, always appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Hook 'em.
Actually, you know what? Next week is Thanksgiving, so we may not talk to you. So have a good Thanksgiving if we don't talk to you.
Hey, man. Happy Turkey Day to you guys as well.
Yes, we'll do that, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, buddy.
There you go. All right. We'll see. Maybe we'll reschedule Brian for some other day, but we wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to him just in case, since next week will get a little crazy. Up next, it is Why Today Matters, November 17th. Couple of things to mention there, and we get you ready for what could be a cold, crazy, snowy one in Green Bay tonight. Green Bay's got to bounce right back. I say bounce back. Come off of the Cowboys, beating the Cowboys, and then take on Derrick Henry. We'll get you a little preview of that one before we're done. Ball Don't Lie follows us, then Longhorn Weekly with Sark, trying to figure out what's going on with Texas. He'll give you a little thoughts on that. And, of course, the Kansas matchup coming up at 7 right here on The Horn. All right. I was talking about Ball Don't Lie. Of course, they follow us, Rod and Harge. Today, they'll be in studio. Tomorrow, they'll be out at Twin Peaks, the Stastny location. Get on out there and see them. They'll have those man cards for you they'll be giving away after a long, hard week. Get out there for some 29-degree draft brews. Get out there for some great made-from-scratch food. Meet the fellas, hang out, listen to them talk some football as we get ready for another big weekend. Also, remember, Twin Peaks is your place, Cowboys fans, for those jersey giveaways all season long. Get out there, enjoy the Cowboys games at Twin Peaks, and you get a chance to win one of those great jerseys. Ask your Twin Peaks girl for more details. Cowboys, Vikings, 325 on Sunday, so make sure to check that out. And if you haven't checked out those new flatbreads, get on out to your favorite Twin Peaks for that. They've got the Hottie Jalapeno Popper, the Hawaii 5-0, the Italian, and the OG Pepperoni just waiting on you. Come out and find your new favorite. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views, Stastny, San Marcos, and Round Rock, TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. It's a dangerous song already. Oh, man. How long ago?
Maybe early 2000s, maybe late 90s. I don't know for sure.
Houston area?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Oh, interesting. Because I think of the Houston area when I think of the lean,
Yeah.
the scissor,
The scissor, as the new kids are calling it, that walk.
that walk,
That walk.
because you can't walk. Is that what it is?
That might be it.
Because it changes your walk. It changes a lot of things. If you do that a little too much, I do not know, Zay. Who is it?
You were close with the Houston. UGK is in the song, but it's 3-6 Mafia.
3-6.
With Project Pat.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you just heard Pimp C.
Okay. So
that's-
my one,
you're right there.
My guess would have been UGK, so I would have been slightly off.
Yeah,
But
ironically, this is how Pimp C passed. Too much, sir.
is it?
Yeah.
Dude, it is really it's crazy to think about how dangerous it became or has become. I don't want to think it's like over. Like nobody's
It's still a thing.
No, not saying nobody's drinking it right now. Like as an A&M fan, it literally killed, what was the kid's name? Oh, Terrence Keel. Really good safety for A&M. Went to the Chargers. Ultimately, that's what killed him.
Where is he from?
He's from Houston somewhere. I can't remember if it was which part of Houston, which school. I'd have to look it up. But I believe he came through Houston, went to A&M, and then had an NFL career going, and then gone.
Yeah, I've never tried it.
Crazy.
Never will either.
Yeah.
That scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, kids, please stay away from that. Please stay away from all that kind of stuff. Very, very dangerous. All right. It is Chad and Zay on a Thursday. Longhorn basketball looking incredible last night at the Moody Center, beating Gonzaga like they stole something off that aircraft carrier. Man, they just whipped them 93-74. We've hit that. We're talking Texas football, getting ready for Kansas, Cowboys, and Vikings this weekend. Cowboys fans, have you heard the news? Oh, my God. Ndamukong Suh and Green? Really? That's all we needed. Jordan Phillips. I messed him up again. Davis, thank you. Why can't I get that guy's name right? Jordan Davis is out on the IR. Yesterday we told you they got Linval Joseph to help out. And now Ndamukong Suh, 35 years old. Nobody had picked him up, Zay. He was a free agent, just chilling out. And now they pick him up last year, 7.5 sacks in the regular and postseason combined in 2020. Had some big plays in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes for the Bucs, but had not been able to really latch on anywhere since then. It was 6 sacks last season for the Bucs. He's 35 years old, and as a Cowboys fan, I'm kind of terrified.
Yeah, I would be too. Clearly, he's not the same guy that he once was when he was in Detroit, that all-pro level. But if you give him limited snaps and rotate those defensive linemen, that he could be a valuable piece. You know, he knows how to play, and he's always been known as a dirty guy. But sometimes you need a little bit of dirty on your team. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, yeah, he can bring some intensity. There's no doubt about that. Let's get into why today matters, and we'll start with a question for Zay about Suh. Here we go. So do you remember where you were when Texas played Nebraska for that Big 12 title?
Yeah, I was at the crib watching it and nervous as hell. Like, wow, this team might not get to the national championship because this Ndamukong Suh guy is messing everything up.
Yeah, he almost won.
Different.
He almost won it by himself.
Yeah.
I've never seen a defensive tackle do that before or since. That's one of the craziest performances I have ever watched in my life. And Colt McCoy and those guys barely got out of it.
Yeah.
Literally by a second. He got rid of that ball just when he needed to. I thought they made the right call at the end. I know Nebraska fans thought they got screwed, but they just escaped that thing. He was so good. They did not know what to do. Jarrett Crick was really good too. I'll give him the credit because that was that other guy on the team. But, man, Suh was incredible. So it is November 17th today. Obviously, one of the reasons today matters is that basketball team looked great for you Longhorn fans. We know you're excited about that. Also today, if you're a movie buff, today is Martin Scorsese's birthday.
Yo, my dude.
He hits 80 today.
God, Goodfellas might be one of my favorite movies ever.
It's a great one. What about Danny DeVito? You fan of his?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
Danny?
Love Danny DeVito. I love him in Sunny in Philadelphia.
No, he's great. Oh, he's great. And you know he requested to be on that show?
Really?
He reached out to them and said, I love your show, would love to do and be a part of it, be a guest or whatever. They made him a cast member.
Yeah, because he's not in the first season.
Correct.
And then they put him in as the D and what's his name's dad. And yeah, it's just gold TV.
Also, same exact age for Lorne Michaels of Saturday Night Live, 78 years old. That makes me question the hipness of Saturday Night Live if Lorne Michaels is 78. 2 years shy of Jerry Jones' age right now. I'm not sure if that makes you the hippest show on television anymore. Also, I love talking Office Space. Stephen Root, Milton from Office Space. He's 71. He does a lot of other great things as well. Incredible actor. Love him. And on the pretty lady scale, how about Daisy Fuentes at 56 and Rachel McAdams at 44 today? Happy birthday to
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
She's solid from The Notebook, which I've seen The Notebook. I'm
Have
married.
you?
I'm
There you
married.
go. Yeah.
I'm married. Sometimes you got to do certain things for your wife. And
What's wrong with sitting through a movie where you get to look at Rachel McAdams?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
In the rain at times.
Yeah. Now, if Rachel McAdams would have known Ryan Gosling was an absolute liability at the cornerback spot on Remember the Titans, she probably would have felt different.
He had enough guts. He had enough guts to put the right guy in. All right? Coach Boone was not perfect.
Yo, man.
Coach Boone was not perfect.
Yo, I know I talk about Jennifer Aniston and stuff and her acting chops, which aren't the best. She gets away with a lot with her looks.
Oh, here we go.
Remember the Titans? I don't know how I feel about that movie.
You're gonna get on the acting in Remember the Titans now? What are you gonna tell me? Denzel mailed it in?
Look, let's keep it real. Homeboy that missed the block that got my man the Rev. We broke his hand. Racist moment. Remember that? Missed the block because Rev was black.
Yes.
Racist moment. Let's be real. Homie was 186 pounds playing left tackle. It
was a long time ago.
He was gonna miss that block regardless.
Years ago, Zay. It was years ago.
Yeah, and they were taking on.
You're saying he couldn't have blocked him even if he wanted to?
No, absolutely not.
You're saying it wasn't a racial choice?
No, they were taking on Joey and Nick Bosa's grandfather. So yeah, he was an absolute problem. They go to Homeboy and they're like, "Yo, I think he missed the block on purpose. He doesn't miss the block." If I'm Denzel, I'm saying, he's about 186. He's gonna miss a few blocks. Like this is what. D3 level football in Virginia. Like, let's keep it real. I know my job's on the line, but let's keep it real. Let's look at everything here, guys.
It's not a racial issue, gentlemen. That's a personnel issue. We got to fix it. We got to fix it. Next camp, we'll fix that. I promise. Oh,
sorry,
my
I got
God.
off topic, but that's just what I think about. I think about those things.
Oh, my Lord. I love Remember the Titans. That's a movie I'll watch till the end if it's on. I'll watch it. I'll jump in and watch. Even though I know they dolled up a lot of that movie for movie's sake, because if you know the real story of that team, it didn't really roll out that way.
No.
They thrashed everybody. If y'all don't know that, spoiler alert, the actual team from Remember the Titans, nobody got close to that team. They stepped on everybody. They tried to close some of those games up, tighten them up a little bit to make a little bit more exciting movie.
Yeah, shout out to a young Hayden Panettiere.
Oh, yes. Hayden Panettiere.
I love her now. Nashville, that's some good stuff.
And you could tell in that movie, all the layers of it were there. You're like, wow, A, she's going to be incredibly attractive as she grows up. B, she's got acting chops. This girl's going to be big time. You could tell.
Yeah, you knew.
If you're in a scene with Denzel Washington and I notice you, check the box. Where's Denzel's daughter today? No clue. The woman that played his wife? Don't have an idea, but I know where Hayden Panettiere is.
Yeah, absolutely.
She
I need to
absolutely
break down that
brought
movie
it.
a little bit more, too, because there's also other points where it's a little questionable, but that point really sticks out. The racist that missed the block. He's 192 pounds.
I have never
He's
heard-
going to miss some blocks, y'all.
I've never heard that angle. I
Yeah.
really have never heard that angle.
What, gonna leave me for them? Dude, I'm 196 pounds. What's my man, the defensive end's name? Like, I don't know his name. but-
Bertier?
Yeah, Bertier. Come on. We've been boys for long. Like,
I could
I'm
just-
not a big guy.
I could
Give
ju-
me a freaking break.
I could just see you, Zay, walking up to Bertier, like, hey, Bertier, let me talk to you 1 second. Hey, man, I don't know if that was racial. What do you mean you don't know if it's racial? I think he just sucks. I do. I think he's undersized for that position. That would make that movie wouldn't be near as good if that was the scene.
Yeah. Sunshine comes along, throws for 30 touchdowns, over 3,000 yards in 6 games. Yeah. Beautiful movie. Beautiful movie.
Oh, my God. All right, the pick apart of Remember the Titans. I didn't expect that one, but I'm glad we went there. I don't even know how we got there. Rachel McAdams somehow got us there. I don't know how. All right, that is why today matters on November 17th. Up next, Stems and Seeds. Yes, the Eagles added another dangerous defensive lineman, and we'll get you set for tonight's game where it might snow at Lambeau. That's always fun. This is The Horn. All right, just about to wrap it up on a Thursday. I love that beat. Is that a Dre beat?
Oh, no, but it's West Coast.
It kind of had that nice, dirty, grimy feel to it.
Yeah, it's very West Coast rapper.
Man, I feel,
This is going to be a tough one. This guy's pretty underground, but known at the same time.
All right, go ahead.
DJ Quick.
Yeah, that wasn't happening. DJ Quick. All right. DJ Quick finishing it off today. Had a little 3-6 Mafia earlier. Chicago, Deep Purple, the Bangles, Smokey all on the show. Plus that nice Beyonce beat. I'm sure got everybody excited at the start of this hour. It is Chad and Zay on a Thursday. We've got a couple of NFL notes before we get out of here. Let's go stems and seeds and see if we can scare a Cowboys fan or two.
No stress, no seeds, no stems, no sticks.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. I know I'm scared. I was already kind of scared of Jordan Davis and what he was doing in Philly as a rookie. Now it's a veteran we'll have to worry about, Cowboys fans. Linval Joseph already there. We told you about that yesterday. How about Ndamukong Suh? There was discussion about would the Cowboys be interested. He was a free agent, just kind of out there. 6 sacks last year for Tampa, but nobody had picked him up. Now the Eagles have picked him up. A little concerned there, Zay, at how that could work out, because that's the kind of guy you get whatever you can get. No big risk. You didn't give anything up.
No. I think this is a good pickup. Again, he's not the same guy he was in Detroit, but without Davis, and we saw how this team was against the Commanders. Robinson went crazy. Gibson went crazy. They ran all over those guys. That's the weak part of this Philadelphia Eagles defense. So picking up a Ndamukong Suh for Jordan Davis, good move.
Yeah, no, I like it too. That's interesting. We'll see how that matches up. And then, of course, because the Cowboys' offensive line's been pretty good, but I don't know that it is great all the time. And the Ndamukong Suh might be able to counteract that when those two teams play again. Keep that one in mind. Also, tonight, you've got Tennessee and Green Bay. Could snow in Green Bay. Isaiah, I went with, on my underdog fantasy, I picked a bunch of higher stuff because, you know, it's me. But so I got Derrick Henry going high on carries. I got Rodgers going high on throws. But I think Tennessee's going to win this game with Derrick Henry. What do you think?
Yeah, if it's supposed to be as cold and crazy with the weather as they say it is, then you would think Derrick Henry would flourish. But what I saw this past weekend against the Cowboys, clearly they aren't opposed to running the football with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, who seems healthy. Aaron Jones did the Marshawn Lynch touchdown on the Cowboys where he grabbed his jock. So disrespectful. I like Green Bay in this matchup.
Do you? Okay.
I do.
Yeah, that was interesting that he had enough time. I love that as a Cowboys fan. He has enough time to do the Marshawn Lynch. Oh, my God. And
so disrespectful.
And do we continue to see the evolution of Christian Watson tonight? If he needs him in a big moment, in a weather situation at home, can he make big catches in front of that home crowd?
Hey, seems like Aaron Rodgers is getting the confidence in those receivers finally. That's maybe all they need.
Hey, the kid did play at North Dakota State. Now they play.
He's used to the cold.
They play in a dome, but they do play out there sometimes. He has to go outside a little bit. Remember, they play in that dome though, the Bison Dome or whatever.
That cold at Lambeau is different.
Yes, it is. And tonight it may have snow with it. Also, SMU at Tulane tonight. If you want to get a look at this ranked Tulane team, they're 8-2 at 6:30.